Hey, Nick.
Hey, Tys.
How are you, man?
I'm okay.
Excellent.
I'm a little rushed. I'm first day back at work.
You're back at work after the baby.
After I think it's been 4 months.
That's
August, September, October. No, August.
What?
No, June, July.
What month are we in?
I don't even know when my baby was born. June, July, August, September.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
What a fucking...
It's a bit... yeah. Jesus.
Yeah.
A bit full on.
Well, first day back, and you get to cap it off with some podcasting.
Oh, I do love that.
Not the worst way to spend a day.
And what a nice episode.
And what a great episode we have for today.
I know.
This is Nic, Tys and Videotape, ladies
How
and
is
gentlemen.
everyone?
Welcome
How
to
you
episode
going?
number 34?
3.
33 was Looper, surely.
No. I always make sure that I write it on top of my page.
All right.
Oh, no, you're right. No, you're right. It was 34. Look.
Episode number 34.
It's going to be a stressful week for Nick. Yeah.
Yeah.
34, yeah.
And we're doing today volume 3 of our crowd favourite, We Rank Stuff.
We rank stuff.
And today we're doing one of our top 10. We're doing one of our year retrospective kind of things where we're going to pick our top 10 films of a certain year. We're also going to kind of discuss some other films that happened
during that year. Not just our top 10.
And we're talking about the bygone era of 2004.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you remember where you were? Where were you around
2004? I was 21 years old.
Right. Really?
Yeah.
Where are you
21
apart?
to 22 years old.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
It depends what time of year it was.
2004.
22 to 23.
No, 22 to 23, yeah.
So it was an interesting time of my life, I would say. I was right in the peak of I think I was working at the cinema at this point. I think I may have moved on from my video store.
Because this was my last year at the video store, 2004.
Very good. Well, yes, I definitely was at the cinema at this stage, actually, because there were a few titles here that I only saw
you remember.
because I got to see movies for free, and I wandered into Cinema 2 and watched Ladies in Lavender one day. So
how's that for you?
Yeah.
And that sound should always be made when referencing Ladies of Lavender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 2004,
cool.
we're going to be doing a bit of a top 10 retrospective and things like that. Just to remind people, we're not picking any order for these yearly
it's a random. Unless you ask us to do it.
If there's a year that you love and you'd love for us to take a stab at, send us an email and let us know. nictysandvideotape@gmail.com.
Yeah.
The plan is to cover every year that we've been alive.
That's true.
That's our plan.
Since 81.
Yeah, and I don't think we're going to struggle with that. I think we'll get through that quicker than we think. And then we'll have to just kind of... we're trying to stay away from current years, because I don't know if this is definitely the way it is for me. I'm not sure how you feel about this, Nick, but I like a bit of distance from films to decide whether or not I actually like them or not.
That's true. I'm the same, especially straight after I've seen it.
Yeah.
Like last week when you asked me about it was still a bit too fresh for me.
I can give my first impressions and I can say, look, this is what I think of that movie.
Yeah.
But whether or not it's going to be like an all-timer or if it's going to pop up on one of these top 10 lists, I need like 5 or 6 years at
which
least.
Which is so good because doing this, there's one in here that I was like, hang on a minute, no, I'm going to take you out. I don't actually like that film anymore. With a bit of age.
I did some similar things.
Yeah.
And movies that I loved when I watched, but realised I have never watched since.
Oh, really?
And other films that I have been drawn to watch 3 or 4 times since then.
Yeah.
So what does that say about that movie? Like, the fact that I haven't had the urge to go and watch it again, surely that says something about the way I feel about that movie.
Does it age well?
It's not so much about how it ages. I think it's more about how we age, Nicholas. But that will be part of the discussion, and it's why these are our top 10s. And
that's true. They're our top 10s.
You can hang shit on them all you like, because there are some choices in my list that are highly dubious. I can assure you of that.
Hilarious.
But this is my top 10, ladies and gentlemen.
This is Nic and Tys' top 10.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
But before we get into any of that, Shazam,
why
don't you tell us where people can find us, Nicholas?
Oh, sure, I can do that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you can find us on social media. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter.
Yes.
That's the social side. You can, but if you're looking to look up our podcast, I don't know how you're listening without that. But if you want to share it with someone, if they're already listening, because they're clearly already listening.
You may have stumbled across this in some strange way.
Yeah,
I've found some podcasts in my day just by very odd ways.
That's true.
Links from links.
YouTube, I find podcasts on YouTube, and it's just talking, and I'm like, oh well, this is a podcast. I'm going to listen to it.
Speaking of YouTube, we have just recently completely updated the YouTube page.
Yeah, buddy.
I've spent probably a little bit too much time there than I wanted to.
Have you? Really? Why?
Because I don't fucking know how to do it.
So we're in the works.
It's taken things that I'm sure would take normal human beings about 10 minutes took me about 7 hours.
Well, that's not...
But the YouTube channel is up and running. It is completely updated, and it has current playlists, current kind of suggested playlists, and all kinds of things. So you can tune in, subscribe there, and then links to the other ways that you can find us. The other ways you
can find us, which is on Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, iTunes is the main one. If you want to leave us a review, and please do, because it really does help us, and it puts a smile on my friend Tys's face.
It does.
You have no idea how much it lights him up.
It does. We had we're cracking through, Nicholas. I'm going to be honest with you, man.
What do you mean? What?
We're cracking through because finally.
What does that mean, cracking?
Well,
what?
We're cracking through the surface of the many film podcasts on iTunes, because a wonderful thing happened the other day.
Oh.
You can search on the iTunes podcast by the film that I would like to hear talked about.
Right.
And so for a bit of fun, I was like, I might check to see if we pop up as one of the options.
Okay.
And I decided to go with one of our most popular episodes.
Oh, can I guess the episode?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know now. This is too much pressure.
I looked up Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing.
And we are listed as one of the top 20 search items for a podcast if you want to hear someone talking about Dirty Dancing. So we're breaking through. We're finally getting there. We're not going to be lost in the the cosmos of multitudes of movie podcasts.
Billions of them.
At least billions.
Billions.
So we're finally getting there, and that's all because of you people and your ratings and reviews. So please keep them coming, because we appreciate it so much.
And the higher you go, the higher the more you rate us. The higher we'll go.
That's it. The more search items will appear on.
That's true.
Yeah, it'd be very exciting.
That would be fun. I would like that.
It would be lovely. Well, why don't we...
let's talk some trailers,
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's get to it. Skip that bit.
No, it's in.
It's in.
Everybody's talking
trailers. Okay. Well, so we had an interesting kind of predicament because we recorded our last episode on Looper. See Facebook and iTunes for our discussion on Looper.
That's true.
We recorded that quite recently. We usually have a full week of downtime between our episodes, but we only had 4 days. Not many trailers landed.
Not many trailers in 4 days,
except for all of a sudden today it went a bit bonkers.
I was waiting for it.
So, a very last minute, these will be kind of old news by the time the episode lands. But
that's true.
But for us, these were quite fresh.
Yeah, man.
Nicholas, why don't you go first? Which one
you
want
me
to
go
about?
first? I can do that. So I watched... I'm a big fan of Alexander Payne. I watched Downsizing.
I also watched Downsizing.
Did you see this?
I did, yes. Alexander Payne,
Matt
the
Damon,
director of
Descendants, of what else was Sideways, and most people know.
Yeah. About Schmidt.
I did not like About Schmidt.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. But yeah, Matt Damon, Christoph Waltz.
It's a great cast.
A huge cast, actually.
Really great
Kristen
cast.
Wiig.
Jason Sudeikis.
Did you say Sudeikis?
I don't know how you say it.
Who cares? Jason, what's his face?
Yeah.
Oh my God, James Van Der Beek is in it. Anyway.
I love James Van Der Beek.
Do you really?
No, because I really dig what he's all about now, where he's just so 100% comfortable
with,
like,
Yes, I Was the Dawson.
Yeah, like with his kind of level of celebrity.
Yeah.
The role, the kind of the hyper stylized version of himself that he plays on Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23.
I've heard
is amazing and so very funny.
That's the reason why people told me to watch that show, and I've never watched it yet.
It's a good show because Kristen Ritter is also hilarious and like incredibly good in that role.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's James Van Der Beek's kind of chance to shine.
Oh, nice.
Anyway.
But yeah, this is an odd premise, Tyson.
It is a very odd premise.
I got a little bit of a Truman Show feel.
Yeah, it's
very Truman Show,
yeah.
Especially with the backing track, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah. It's got like it's the quirky kind of strange scientific kind of discovery that leads to us reflecting on humanity on the whole.
A massive wank. It's a Family Man again.
It's
basically, but with a spin. So what it is us. It's us. The world has kind of.
We're worried about overpopulation.
We're
worried about our resources.
We've found a way to help one another, and we've decided to shrink. You can get shrunk as a person.
And the process is called downsizing, which I think is quite clever.
That's quite clever. But yeah, because you downsize, you have more. So obviously your house can be as big as you want it to be because it's actually the size of a
Barbie's
shoebox.
Magic Playhouse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So because of that, I don't know how it says in the trailer that your money...
Well, it's the same thing.
Upgrades?
Because think about it, because you only have to buy...
Oh, right, of course.
The minuscule... percentage. So everything gets like. So if you've got $100,000 saved,
yeah,
you could live like kings.
Yeah.
Kings and queens for the rest of your life.
So it's imagine like buying things for mice.
Yeah.
If you're a mouse, you'd have tons of stuff. I don't know why I put it in that analogy.
I don't know how they would be able to shop for these things, but yes.
Anyway. Well, ratatouille. But it's very much it starts off with, look at this cool sci-fi premise that we have.
Yes.
Matt Damon and Kristen Wiig, who are together, kind of go, not bad. And then when the stakes are low.
Okay, so we need to talk about the soundtrack, because I was on board for this trailer. I actually kind of was really enjoying it
until that kicked in.
Yeah, because as a premise, it's a bit kind of like, okay, this is all a bit
fun.
too.
It could be something different.
It's the cast and the director, and writer, and you understand the tone that the trailer was setting. I liked that it was a mixture of kind of high concept sci-fi, but with quirky indie kind of sensibilities, like
with a humor, indie humor to it. Yeah, exactly.
And I was kind of like, this will be really interesting.
Okay.
It is an interesting concept. Like, imagine this really incredible sci-fi experiment.
Yeah.
But if like regular Joe went and tried it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
And Matt Damon is the regular Joe.
And Matt Damon, because there's I really like the way he's just like, kind of when he first sees the shrinking man, he's like, wow, isn't that something? Like it's almost like, it's a bit Minnesota.
That's nice. Yeah, it is.
And so it was kind of, I was on board for that. And then you may ask yourself, how did I get here? Which has been used for every fucking trailer.
So many movies.
Whenever it needs to be some kind of like indie
seriously
change of kind of your lifestyle. So it's like, all of a sudden you're doing something that you think you're going to hate, but then you realize that you love it, and then it makes you reflect on your life differently.
Yeah.
Whenever that's the movie, and that is a very broad premise, and a lot of indie, I don't want to hang shit on indie films because it's,
No, but you can use something else. Use another song.
And this is the thing, I feel bad for Alexander Payne.
Yeah, the song we're talking about is Talking Heads, Once in a Lifetime, by the way.
Yeah, and look, it's a great song. I fucking love Talking Heads, man.
But I don't like it anymore.
I don't like it anymore because it represents a trailer telling me that this is going to be a poignant...
This is going to be a
film of self-discovery.
Exactly, yeah. Let's look at your life and see how shit it is and how you shouldn't be living, almost.
Yeah. And they even had the fucking... And look, this is not Alexander Payne's fault. This is whoever cut the trailer together.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's even had the gall to, cut to him and Kristen Wiig kissing when it was and you will see your beautiful wife. And I'm like, oh my God, you're even you are feeding directly what these lines are saying.
Yeah, exactly.
And you mentioned the film. I'm almost 99% certain that this is the song they used for The Family Man.
The Family Man.
The Brett Ratner joint. Family Man.
He doesn't get it. Yeah, absolutely.
Starring Nick Cage.
What was the other one we were talking about? Not recently.
Yeah, it was that it was that Gerard Butler horseshit thing.
That's fucking
but I don't think it actually used that song, but we used it as an example of the song that should have been in that trailer.
Exactly, yeah.
Because it's a horseshit fucking cliche of these trailers to have this song.
Yeah.
So I expect better from...
I hear that song and I think of Ben Stiller in that movie
Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Yeah, I think
that's
of that.
Exactly, and it's that kind of... That kind of movie is defined by... that choice of song.
Absolutely.
And as soon as you show me a trailer and go, I'm going to play this song, I check out because I'm like, no, it's hipster indie nonsense.
Exactly. I don't want to see it. You've ruined the movie for us already.
It's made me... Look, and Alexander Payne is a fucking good director.
Yeah.
And
I love The Descendants. I really love that movie.
I like the premise. I like the cast. I think it's going to be funny. I think it's going to be interesting. I think it possibly will say some really interesting things about humanity and lifestyle and
But that's the thing, Tys. The song probably won't play in the movie.
No.
Do you know what I mean? So we I think we should, especially with this cast. I think it's
time for these people to understand that film fans watch a lot of trailers. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Alexander Payne is not. He's not mainstream popular. People that go to a trailer and go, I want to watch the new trailer for the new Alexander Payne film, are not the kind of people that have never seen a trailer before.
That's true. But that's true. This trailer is not aimed at us. This trailer is aimed at...
But then this is a distribution company not understanding their market, because Alexander Payne's market is never going to be regular people off the street. True. His market is going to be film lovers and people that saw Sideways and realized that it wasn't just a comedy about wine tasting.
And Nebraska. Did you see Nebraska?
No, I never saw Nebraska. I really wanted to see it.
I
fucking love Bruce Dern.
Yeah, I watched that trailer, saw Bruce Dern, and then Alexander Payne was completely sold. I actually turned off the trailer because I didn't want to know what it was about.
Sure.
And yeah, amazing. Of course, we're going to look at it, but stick in at another part of the world,
and that's it. And then all of a sudden, it might as well have been fucking grab your things, I come to take you home. So
get off.
Yeah, so I was a bit disappointed by that. I think I'm still excited for this movie, to be honest, because this was a surprise to me when it popped up. I was
what
like,
would have been better? Even if they did this, even if they did that would have been better. Put Springsteen in there, and this would have, it would have been better.
Bit of Springsteen, yeah. He goes all right. Or I was waiting for it to kind of play on the concept. I was waiting for it to use the song, but kind of ironically acknowledge that it's because the trailer so far had like a really interesting kind of satirical streak through it.
Yeah, it did.
And I was so like stuff like when they're using like a pulley kind of water jug, which they zoom out and it turns out to be a full bottle of vodka that's tipped over, and it's like,
and then it's huge.
And it's huge because
they're pouring jugs of it.
And so I thought maybe they were going to use the song slightly ironically and just kind of pull the rug out from under us a little bit, and it would be kind of funny. Okay, no, they used it. It was completely like it's sincere, and I was like, oh, come on, man. Like,
because we've talked about him before. Who's the composer for American Beauty?
That's Thomas Newman.
Use him. Use Thomas Newman.
Well, see,
because then you would have a bit more of a American Beauty vibe, which I know that kind of you don't want to. It's kind of
I get what you're saying.
Back to 2002.
Then we get the tinkly piano stuff, and it's like
in
certain circumstances, but then maybe that's. Oh,
no, I don't like that.
Well, it's not that I don't like it. I'd need to see it. Like, you can make everything, and it's kind of like I think this would be better. You wouldn't know until because you'll never actually get it to exist.
Yeah,
but it's something else. I think the indie kind of funky kind of
anything else
lesser known band with that one song that talks about how did I get here. It's just it's like they literally went to the music database that they've got licensing to and went track. The third song down. This one. We like this one. Yeah, we've used this one a few times.
Do you know what I think it is? It's because on another part of the way, it's that bit there. You have look at your house, you look at your wife.
And you may find yourself.
How did I get here? Like it's just that bit. Let's use that. Oh, get over it.
But I reckon even I've seen a film that has used that bit and just when it's about to the chorus has done like a kind of thing before. I'm almost certain that that's happened. Because that's been like, we're pulling the rug out. And it's like, no, you haven't actually.
No, you haven't. You're still using
the bit that everyone fucking knows. Anyway. I don't want to rant and rave too much about this because it looks like it might be a really good movie. So I am...
Alexander Payne. I was thinking about him the other day. I was like, what is he doing?
Well, there you go. He's making downsizing.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon is a mini Matt Damon.
As a mini Damon.
Yeah, I'm up for that.
You're up for that. Okay.
Let's move on.
Christopher Waltz, bring it
on. Oh, yeah, exactly.
What did you watch?
All right, I'm going to talk about a movie really quickly called Hostiles.
Ooh, I saw this.
Yeah. So Scott Cooper.
Scott Cooper?
I think it's Scott Cooper. Can you look that up for me briefly? Sure. Directed Crazy Heart, which I loved.
I loved
Out of the Furnace and Black Mass, which I believe you really liked.
Which really good. Yeah.
Yes,
Scott Cooper, correct.
Cooper, cool. And so this looks like it's very late period Western.
Yeah, right up your alley, Tys.
Yeah, I love a really good Western. Yeah. I love a revisionist Western.
A revisionist Western.
Sorry, I really struggle to say that word. And this appears to be kind of along those lines, where it's a little bit kind of reflective of the genre on the whole. Christian Bale stars as a corporal or something in the army.
Yeah.
And he has to escort a Native American family.
Right.
Across dangerous terrain.
Is that what it was?
Yes.
Because I
got you didn't get a lot from the trailer. The trailer, you got a lot. You could see that there were Native Americans involved, and that him and Rosamund Pike had a bit of a kind of back and forth with each other.
Yeah.
It looks very kind of reflective.
It looks like they were questioning why they were there and all that stuff.
It looks kind of quiet, but with a mean streak to it.
It could
very atmospheric, which I'm always up for. I think I can watch horseshit movies, but if I'm digging the atmosphere, I can tend to dig the film.
Yeah, that's very true.
I'm kind of on board for this.
Especially
I reckon it's going to be really good.
I love a dark Western.
I do love a dark Western. I like a Western that decides that it wants to not so much kind of show it how it really happened, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
But one that uses the Western genre as a kind of a jumping off point to say more kind of existential things. I feel like the Western genre actually lends itself to that very well because it's a very lonely genre. Like your protagonists are usually quite isolated and very reflective people generally.
And quite messed up. You never see a happy cowboy.
Well, you do, but they're the kind of movies that I'm far less interested in.
Yeah.
And so it gives you, I think the genre itself gives you an opportunity to be really kind of introspective, and I'm all about that, and that's going to be really, I think this movie's kind of doing some things like that.
Nice.
Christian Bale is, always at least
always
dependable.
He's
not always in great films, but he always works his ass off.
That's
and
so true.
I was just thinking about Rosamund Pike. Like, I haven't seen her in a while since Gone Girl. And considering how fucking great she was in that movie.
She was. I actually it's do you know how has this ever happened for you with an actor? They do their job so well in the film, by the end of it you hate the actor. You can't separate. You're like, and Rosamund Pike in Gone Girl is that person for me. I was like, oh man, you fucking,
Oh, she's like she.
But she played it well. She played it really well.
Just like hand-wringingly evil.
Yeah,
and
which is why for ages up until Harry Potter, I didn't like Maggie Smith because of Secret Garden.
Okay,
she was awful in Secret Garden. She was the evil nana.
Sure, no, well, I only ever saw it as like a kid, so I didn't really have that.
Yeah, so I saw that and I was like, and then of course.
And it's funny because I'm instantly endeared to Maggie Smith because of McGonagall. Like every time I see her, I'm just like, oh,
you feel safe, you feel at home.
Yeah,
that
bit. Like just as a side note, that bit.
Go on.
I don't know if it's the 6th or 7th film where she struts out while they're all holding them captive and fucking gives it to them. And I was like, oh my God. Oh, you are the best.
She is good. Yeah, she is really good. Yeah.
So I'm all about it. Watch the trailer. You'll be able to tell very quickly if this is your kind of film.
Exactly.
It looks like there's not going to be a whole lot going on. I think it's going to be very, very understated. Plot-wise, especially, I think it might be, much more about character and
people have to be up for a Western. It's a lot of Westerns are very slow burners.
Yeah, well, we keep saying this. A lot of the good ones.
Yeah. Have we said this before? Have we?
Well, no. The problem is that I think, and this is kind of, I feel like it's very similar to country music, considering we're talking about kind of similar, points of origin.
That's true.
There are bad westerns, and westerns get a rough run because it's like it's the genre with the cowboy saves the damsel and rides into the sunset.
Yeah.
Look, there are those versions of them, and no one is sitting there saying that they are great examples of this genre.
No.
But the genre on the whole has such strength, and such high points that you've just got to go through and realize that, yes, there are bad examples of that.
Yeah.
There's bad examples of everything. There's bad examples of comedy. There's bad examples of action.
Absolutely.
And it makes
of course you're going to get bad horror, bad sci-fi.
Yeah,
of course, you're going to get everything.
And westerns is very similar, but they're incredibly good westerns, and this looks like one that I might really get involved with. So.
Do you remember this?
I remember it very well. Nicholas has just shown me the poster for Texas Rangers. I actually watched this within the last 12 months.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
For the first time?
No. This is a regular watch for me. I used to watch it a lot when I was younger because it was just an easy...
Really?
Yeah, because it was an easy rent. And it came out the same year as a movie called American Outlaws, which has Colin Farrell and Scott Kahn and Ali Larter, I believe. And they're both equally horseshit, but for some there was this. It's a really interesting time capsule of 2001ish. Is it 2001?
Yeah, 2002. Yeah,
where we tried really hard, but only for 2 films.
Yeah,
to make westerns cool for teenagers. We only 2 films.
Only 2 films.
And then everyone went, nah, it's not going to happen.
So
Don't worry about it.
So bad.
Which is really
so Texas
strange.
Rangers, the poster that I was just showing him is the when Dawson's, because we brought up James Van Der Beek before, when Dawson's Creek was big, I love when all of the head actors went off to do film.
The Skulls,
Disturbing Behaviour.
Yeah,
I think Michelle Williams' one was Dick. Was it Dick? I think
would have been around that time. Yeah. But Dick's actually
it's actually
a pretty
really good
film. Yeah,
exactly. And
she might have lucked out.
Apart from Varsity Blues, Dawson did this, and it was. I think it was. I remember it being.
It's Usher.
It's Usher.
And Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah.
And the bad guy, who actually is not bad in this film, is...
and Rachel Lee Cook.
It's not the bad guy. Dylan McDermott is the guy that rounds them all up, and he tries. I like Dylan McDermott a little. No, is it? Yeah, it is Dylan McDermott.
Yeah.
I like him.
Where's Rachel Lee Cook? Where did she go?
That's an interesting question.
She was good. She had some good chops
well,
on her.
As we talk, is there anything in 2004 that she's in?
Really?
I wonder.
Listen to this tagline before we...
Yeah.
before there was law, there were Rangers.
Yeah.
I can't believe you've watched this year.
Yeah, I maybe look within the last 12 months. I'm pretty sure because it popped up on Stan or something.
That's
I was
so
like, fuck
gold.
yeah. All right, let's move on.
All right,
we're running out of time.
We are
because we've got a big topic to discuss.
We do.
So let's just do very briefly. What did you watch this week? What did you watch this week?
I watched The Trip. 2010.
Yeah.
Steve Coogan. And,
So this is the first one
Rob
of their three.
This is the first one of the
I've
three.
not seen any of them.
I've actually seen this one, but me and my wife want to rewatch it again. Director Michael Winterbottom.
Ah, yes.
From
he's a bit of a classy director, isn't he?
He likes to try.
He's done his fair share of upper class
questionable things. Well, he did Killer Inside Me, which looked really awesome, but it wasn't.
Oh,
yeah.
Was that him?
Yep. And then...
Why did I feel like that was somebody else?
Because I looked up his 2004 movie.
Which is...
9 Songs. The one with this real sex scenes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That movie's no good.
I never watched it. I didn't want to watch it. It looked balls.
I have yet to see I'm going to put this in air quotes, like a actual sex movie that's any good.
Really?
100%.
I will go on record, and because I didn't think that this was going to be any good... who did what was the director that did Nymphomaniac 1 and 2?
Oh, Lars von Trier.
That was actually really good.
I haven't seen any of them. I have a thing against Lars von Trier. I think he's a fucking idiot. So.
A lot of it, give or take. But as far as the storyline goes and the real sex, it was not bad.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah, just quickly. But anyway, I watched The Trip. I liked The Trip. It was just easy. It was a quick chuck on watch. For those who don't know, it's two actors who are known for doing impressions, Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon.
Are they playing themselves?
They're playing themselves.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and they tour the country. I think it's just England where they do at the moment. In the first one, they go other countries.
There's a trip to Italy, trip to Italy,
and
trip to Spain.
Spain is the other ones.
Yeah.
So they do a tour of the country's restaurants because.
Oh, cool.
Steve Coogan asked Rob Brydon to come with him to do it because his girlfriend backed out. Even though, like, Coogan actually, obviously, they're not playing their real characters because Coogan is actually quite a prick.
So they're heightened versions of themselves.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Because if Steve Coogan is really, he's just an asshole to Rob Brydon, but it's just so funny. It makes fun of itself.
Yeah, sure.
And it's nice. It's a nice improvised feel. It's easy to watch, and it makes me try and. My impressions aren't that good. Okay. I know that, but I tried to do my Michael Caine. I'm not going to do it now. I'm never going to do it. Yeah, go on.
It's a double.
Oh, nice.
That's the only thing I can say as Michael Caine.
That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to even try because, every time I try, I can hear my wife in the back of my head go, "You sound like an old lady. You sound like an old lady." So, but it's a hilarious movie. And I can't wait for. I've seen
it's coming soon, or is it out recently?
I think it's out recently. Okay.
Yeah. It's funny because I've never really sought them out because I've never kind of bought into the whole Steve Coogan thing. I'm just not really a big fan. Yeah, but it's not even like I've chosen not to be a fan. I just have no exposure to it. I think in my head right now, the only thing I can think of is when he's like guest starred in other things. Like,
so you've never watched Alan Partridge? I've never watched Alan Partridge. No. The only thing I've watched him in is what is the movie?
He's funny in Tropic Thunder.
24-Hour Party People.
Oh, no, I've never seen that.
Yeah.
I have seen Hamlet 2.
Oh, okay.
Which is
the sequel.
Yeah, it's a really funny. It's like a high school comedy about a guy who a drama teacher that puts on a musical, which is a sequel to Hamlet.
That is hilarious.
Or it is Hamlet the musical or something like that. Anyway, and Steve Coogan is the drama teacher, and that was fine. Yeah, I've just never had big kind of like
fair deal.
Hey man, Steve Coogan, let's go see that. Like,
well, I didn't watch this first. Me and my wife watched this because of Rob Brydon. We're big fans of Rob Brydon because of the TV show Human Remains, which is it's an English TV series. I believe it was like 2002. It came out,
right?
2001, very early, but just black, really. There's because at the time, I think it came out around the time of the English Office, and this black.
What's it called again? Sorry,
Human Remains.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. No, not a lot of people. You can't buy it here anymore. But it is hilarious. It is so. Like this uncomfortable humor that The Office brought to us that now people just love, and it's all over the place. This did that, but times 10. Right. It was really uncomfortable to watch this.
Amazing,
and it was awesome. We watched it for Rob Brydon. We love him.
Oh, good.
And Coogan just came along for the ride.
I may just get on this. I think it's time.
Give it a go.
I've heard nothing but good things about all three of them, so I should probably get on them.
It's hilarious. So the first one is on Netflix. The next two are on Stan.
Oh, already?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Smash them all out.
Marathon. So there you go. What did you watch, Tys?
All right, Nicholas.
Oh.
No, it's not really. It's not really. That big.
You watched something big?
No, it's not big at all.
Oh my god!
It is a movie that has been shat on heavily, and this is another Great Wall scenario for me. A film that has been shat on.
Yeah, see, I'm in the same boat with you.
That wasn't that bad.
Okay.
And I watched King Arthur: Legend of the Sword.
Oh dear Lord. Okay.
Right.
Oh, here we go. Hang on. Yeah, one of my favourite directors. Come on,
Guy Ritchie.
I'm
not the hugest Guy Ritchie guy.
I love him.
I think Guy Ritchie's time, he's not adapting to the times particularly well. He's still caught in a bit of 1998-ness. Yeah. Like Lock, Stock is great.
Awesome.
Snatch is great.
I
think I might like Snatch more than Lock, Stock.
No, rewatch them and I bet you change your mind.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Because Snatch has kind of aged a little.
Well, I feel like Lock, Stock has aged a lot. But we'll try. I'll try because it has been a while. Yeah. But and look, I liked the first Sherlock Holmes, but I didn't really care about the second one. Yeah. And for me, he's just a bit of he's a guy that I've never quite figured out. I'm like, are you going to do anything else, or are you just going to kind of make films be your films?
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Like he doesn't adapt material. He makes material adapt to him.
Yeah, I mean? Yeah. That's what he has a style, and he makes whatever it is.
Yeah. And look, that style in certain circumstances, I think works really well.
Man from Uncle.
Man from Uncle, I really enjoyed.
That was insane.
But I actually felt like that was kind of the least Guy Ritchie film I've seen.
I would kind of agree
in a really long time. Like out of quite almost all of his films.
Yeah,
it was not very Guy Ritchie. He was classy, and it felt like
it felt something different, very different.
Yeah. So anyway, this is not the dumpster fire that people think it is.
Right.
It has some really incredibly high highs, like moments where I was like, "This is fucking amazing. Yep. This is so great."
Yeah.
And then just some moments where you were like, "Oh, this is awful." And it's amazing for a film to just like
jump up
and like be so varied in its quality, and within minutes.
Oh, that's not good.
That's
not good.
For me to be sitting there and I'd literally turn around and be like, I fucking love this, and 1 minute later I'd be like, that was the worst thing I have seen in a movie for a very long time.
Wow,
and
really?
So I'm kind of bummed that this has not done better, because we're never going to see the planned kind of series of films that this was intended to be, because I think it could have been something.
Did it end on a cliff? It
doesn't end on a cliffhanger, but we don't get like Lancelot or Guinevere or the Round Table or anything. We get like
is this before all of that?
Yeah, we get like a half finished.
Do you get
Round
Excalibur?
Table. Yeah.
Okay.
We get Excalibur.
The
stuff with Excalibur is some of the best stuff in this film.
Oh, really?
It's really great. Every time he picks up Excalibur, his eyeballs go weird, and it goes into Guy Ritchie land, and everything is all really like jagged and like really kind of awkward frame cuts, and but like it's quite effective.
Yeah.
And there's some really kind of the whole part, like he's trying to make the Arthurian legend, like street level,
right?
So he's putting it on like the geezer level, right?
That's awesome.
So everyone kind of talks like rough as guts British.
Really? Yeah.
Everything is like, the dialogue is really kind of street level. So everyone, someone will say, what about this guy? And the other one will go, what guy? The guy I told you about. I'm telling you about the guy. All that kind of like that, the Guy Ritchie kind of snappiness that works in Lock, Stock feels really weird when it's
that
like...
would be, especially when you're talking about Arthur and the Round Table.
Like medieval times. It feels really awkward.
When there's names like Percival and Bedivere.
But the energy in it is off the charts. Like it's so... You have to respect that he literally just went... I'm fucking making this movie, and it is like something, and some of it is just fails so spectacularly. Yeah. But then stuff like the first 10 minutes or so, which is a battle scene with Arthur's dad, which basically leads to how Arthur gets adopted or goes missing from the family, with Eric Bana as his dad, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Surprised when I was like, holy shit, Eric Bana's in this movie. I fucking love Eric Bana. Was excellent. Really great. The energy was huge. There were like giant elephants knocking fucking bridges over, and Eric Bana cracking out Excalibur and his eyeballs go weird, and you're just like, this is fucking awesome. Like, it's just because it was so like juvenile is the wrong word, but I want to say it. It was like a kid going, oh fuck, and then this happens, and it's fucking sick. And I was on board, like totally on board for it. And then it kind of goes downhill, but then every now and then something happens. You're like, yes,
Keep going,
and then it goes downhill again. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, you're on it. You've
got the ball. You've got it. Oh, you idiot! Why did you say that fucking line?
Yeah. So look, it's definitely worth watching. It's nowhere near
as bad as
what people are saying, because this is the thing. Like, I can't hate a movie that is trying this hard. It is trying so hard. It is doing he really is intended to make a film that is unique, energized, kind of batshit crazy too. Yeah. And he's really tried. And look, it hasn't worked entirely, but I will take that any day over a fucking carbon copy sitting around a desk going, and then this happens and this happens. And yes, look, there are elements of this that are franchise building.
Sure.
But it's nowhere near as disgusting as some others that we've seen recently, like, Amazing Spider-Man 2, for instance.
Right.
Where it was just basically...
There was no script.
Or like the fucking emails in Batman v Superman, where it's just like, you haven't even tried. She opens an email, like, the world building parts of this are actually so kind of are important to the story. Like, you don't see Merlin, but Merlin's presence is felt because he's kind of, they talk about him in like hushed tones as a guy that has been around at a time and did this but has now disappeared and blah blah blah. So
I hope Merlin is Jason Statham.
That'd be fucking great. I'm fucking Merlin.
I've got the fucking chops, don't I? What the fuck are you looking at?
I'll fucking zap you into a toad, etc. So, yeah, I reckon this... I think a lot of people will be avoiding this because they heard it was bullshit. Yeah. I think you're going to like it a lot more than you think it will.
Maybe I'll give it a go.
Yeah,
okay.
It's definitely
You've given it some light. And it was Guy Ritchie. And I do love Guy Ritchie.
And it's the most I've enjoyed Charlie Hunnam, I think, ever.
The guy, I was a big fan of Sons of Anarchy. That was one of the worst.
Because I never watched Sons of Anarchy, so I didn't have... Because I'm in the boat where I don't understand how he's famous. Like, I don't understand it because I'm like, he's like really low-level charisma.
Yeah. It is Sons of Anarchy.
And this is... Yeah. And I... Like, but that, you have 7 seasons to build something.
Exactly.
You're always going to... Like, that's like people who... I think Sarah Michelle Gellar is an incredibly underrated actress.
Yeah.
And people are like, what are you talking about? She's fucking rubbish. She does these awful... She does nothing. She does these awful television shows. It's like, because I watched 7 years of character development from her, and she's awesome.
But unfortunately, Charlie, what's his name? Hunnam? Yeah. He didn't really... He grew a little bit, Tyson, but he didn't grow a lot. So it's either... I got really sick of his character because it was either whispering to tell his gang something, or it was yelling at the top of his lungs because he doesn't know how to deliver the lines. And I'm like, dude, someone needs to pull you aside and go, mate, you need to find... it's okay to do a little bit of both in one sentence. Don't just jump back and forth.
But this is the most I've enjoyed him because he's far better than he was in Pacific Rim. He was close to ruining that film for me, and because I really like Pacific Rim, but I'm just like, God, he's not built to lead this film. No. I think he does okay. He's got he's got a nice energy. Nice. He like holds his own, and he's fucking built like a fucking brick shit house.
He did that for Sons.
Yeah. So get on it.
Nice. Okay.
Get on it. I think it's definitely I think you might find something in it. Who knows?
Awesome.
Anyway,
I can't wait for Guy Ritchie to do the next Man from U.N.C.L.E., to be honest.
Well, he's doing the next Disney remake of Aladdin.
Which, that's a bit fucking controversial.
And I don't understand
whitewashing Aladdin. How the fuck can you whitewash Aladdin?
They've fixed that. They've gone with actual, they actually found Middle Eastern actors in the
really?
Which is amazing. Could you believe it? They fucking... God.
But he's doing Sherlock Holmes 3.
Really?
And then Aladdin's in
preparation. Aladdin's well and truly happening. But what kind of choice is that? Who at Disney went? Yeah. Do you know this guy that makes the most British films that have ever been British?
And the most adult. Like, he doesn't shy away. Yeah. He's never really made a kids or a teenage
It's not
movie.
like Jon Favreau for Jungle Book, who it's like, he cut his teeth on Zathura and Elf. Yeah. Like, he's got this kind of this, a family mentality. He understands.
Exactly.
Guy Ritchie. The closest thing to a family movie is that fucking piece of shit with Madonna that he made.
Yeah, Swept Away.
That's it.
Fuck off. Jesus Christ.
Anyway, that's enough talking about that.
Let's move on.
Let's move on to our feature presentation.
Our feature prez.
And now for our feature presentation.
All right, Nicholas.
Okay.
Here we are.
The rules, Tyson. Let's have some rules. Let's have some rules.
Rules.
Okay. If something is brought up, we table it if it's higher than the remember the rules?
Yeah. We wait until we wait until it's the highest point on one of our lists,
and then we talk about it.
But
from what you've said before we started recording, I think
we're going to have drastically different lists.
Yeah, I think we are.
We'll have a couple of overlaps, but I think we're going to have pretty drastically different lists.
Okay.
So we're talking about our top 10s of 2004. We Rank Stuff, Volume 3.
2004.
So 2004 was a funny... I just want to... let's just do an overall.
Yep.
It was a funny year.
Yep.
I remember when we announced the year, in my head, I couldn't, at that moment... bring a film.
No, neither could I.
It was like one of those things where it's just like, it's too much information at one time. I'll suss it out later. I went and looked, and my initial reaction was, holy shit, this fucking year is amazing.
This year was really good. Really good.
But as I've gone on, I've realised that there's not a lot of
rewatchability,
all-timers in this list. Do you know what I mean? This is a list of great films that are never probably going to be like that are once watched. Well, there's a few on my list that's why my list is predominantly multiple watches.
Yeah.
Because
that's how I picked.
A lot here.
When I did the same thing as you. So going through everything, I'm like, well, hang on a minute. I really like that film, but when was the last time I watched that? So my list kind of, well, Nick, they're good, but how many times have you rewatched them?
Exactly.
Or when do you get the urge to rewatch something? You go, oh yeah, I want to watch that again.
And when I'm going through the Wikipedia page of every film released in 2004, which is a fool's errand, by the way, like trying to go through and like, oh, that kind of sounds familiar, and then realizing it's like a Turkish short film made for $15,000, and I'm like, why is this on Wikipedia, like on the list?
Because the Turks count.
Yeah, they can make full feature length. That's fine. I don't want to know about their short films. Like that was made.
Jesus, what list are you looking at?
I went to the extensive.
You went to the extensive
because I wanted to check out to make sure that because this was around the time where there were things that were going to straight to video,
right? That
are worth like a really good. So I didn't want to miss anything that didn't get a cinema release.
Fair enough.
Which turned out to be very little, though. It's pretty much everything that is on my list had a cinema release of some description, I think. Yeah. It's also the longest list that I've written. I mean, we've only done 2 so far, but because I tend to break it up into, as I'm writing it, I like to have different categories of things that I then put my top 10 from.
Yeah.
So I have what I consider the best films. Not necessarily my top 10, but are regarded as the best films.
Okay.
And so I chuck it in there.
All right.
That's not a particularly long list.
Okay.
I have then my favourites and most watched. That was not a very long list either.
Okay, all right.
The disappointments was a long list. And the forgotten who the fuck cares about this movie anymore was also a long list.
Are you talking about when you messaged that to me the other day? Do you mean the movie The Forgotten?
No, well
because that was in this. So I didn't understand.
That is definitely one of the films that is forgotten. No one remembers The Forgotten, starring Julianne Moore.
Yeah, exactly.
No, the forgotten movies are the movies that like
no one remembers anymore.
You would put up a poster and people would go,
"The fuck is that?
When did that movie happen? Did that movie actually happen?" And then I have a category of films that I'm not even sure that I've seen, but I have memories of seeing them.
Oh.
And that was a long list too. So
you've got a lot of lists.
Yeah, I do have a lot of lists.
That's all right. I've got a couple. I've got my top 10. I did a few lists. So I did my top 10, and then I did the ones that almost made it into my top 10.
I've got an honourable mention.
Honourable mentions. That's quite long for me.
It is pretty long for me as well.
Yeah.
I think what we'll do is we'll allow one to discuss as part of the list, and then at the end we can list the other ones as just honourable mentions.
And then the other list was I did do a disappointments one, but I also did a superhero list.
Oh, okay.
The superhero movies that came out that year, which to be honest is in the same as disappointments list.
Oh, interesting.
That's a bit of a tidbit for later.
All right. Well, so the way we're going to do it, we're going to start with one of our honourable mentions.
Okay,
each,
nice. I like it.
And then we're going to hit our top 10.
Okay.
We're also going to play a few games, a few fun games, just to break up the listness.
Yeah.
We've got some games prepared based around the films of 2004.
And
just while we're talking, we might kind of drop away and mention some other things and there.
Yeah.
While we're at it. So, Nicholas.
Oh, Tys.
Do you want to go first?
Do you want me to go first?
Why don't you start with your honourable mention, buddy?
Okay, honourable mention. Yeah. Okay. I have to pick one, do I?
Let's pick one.
Let's pick one honourable mention.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go this one.
Okay.
Because I only saw it twice, but I remember it being quite good. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. No, I am. Do you remember Mysterious Skin? Did you see that movie?
Mysterious Skin.
This
is Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. Was that this year?
That was 2004.
That was not on any of my lists.
I know. I had to like, oh, now you're making me question
Uncertain.
myself.
It was not on my extensive Wikipedia list.
God damn
but you're
it,
probably right,
Nicholas.
because it was a very
2004 Mysterious.
Yeah, okay. It must have been like festival release
It was,
2004
yeah,
and maybe
yeah.
not had a wide release until the year after.
Oh,
but
maybe not.
But that's okay. That definitely counts. I usually try.
Oh no, we got it August 2005.
Well,
but everyone else got it.
I tend to go from what IMDb says on the
good
on
idea.
its
On the top?
If it says 2004, we
Yeah.
count it as 2004.
Yeah.
That's okay. I wouldn't have made any of my lists anyway.
Yeah. So I really liked this movie. It was a bit of an indie LGBTI movie for the time.
Yes.
It's Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays a teenage hustler, a young man obsessed with alien abductions, and it's just his little story and sort of things.
I remember
and,
it had a reputation as being a kind of a confronting film that dealt with issues of homosexuality in a kind of like straightforward and not like I don't want to say
like
confronting like
it's
it's a bad thing, but it kind of pulled no punches in it.
It wasn't. Yeah, it did have a couple of sections of it where it was not hard to watch, but it was you really felt sorry for his character and what he went through.
And I believe it, like, no spoilers, but I believe it doesn't end well.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my honourable mention.
That was directed by somebody. Can you tell me? Because
I
believe that's somebody that Greg Akai, is that his name?
Oh Jesus! How the fuck do you remember this shit, Tyson?
It just jumps in.
Yeah, Greg Akai.
Now, can you just check me? Did he do a movie
Called
Kaboom?
Yes, Kaboom.
I have seen Kaboom. That is one of those random films that has just popped up out of nowhere.
Shit? Like, I'm good, but fuck me.
And Kaboom was a really interesting movie. I really quite enjoyed it. It's bonkers. And that was probably a couple of years later, I think, maybe 2010-ish. Yeah, cool. Good film, really good film. Worth checking out.
Yeah.
Has he done anything else, Greg Akai?
He's gone more into TV series.
Okay,
so
sure.
Greenleaf, Red Oaks, 13 Reasons Why.
Sure.
But yeah, I wanted to mention this because I remember really, really liking this film in 2004 or 2005, whenever I watched it. And always wanted to watch it again. It's always, I'll see it and go, oh, I'd like to watch that again.
Yeah, I get that vibe.
So that was my one honourable mention.
That's your one honourable mention. All right, cool. My honourable mention, this is going to be tough because I've got a list. I've got an extensive list of honourable mentions. I've got to pick one.
Yeah, mine is massive. That was hard.
Oh, I don't know.
That was hard.
All right, I'm going to do it because this defines what honourable mention means to me. I'm going to go with The Village.
Oh, this is another in my honourable mentions.
Very good. So I'm going to make it my honourable mention because it deserves a mention because it gets panned as being
bad.
The beginning of
version,
Shyamalan's downfall.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not at all. Lady in the Water is definitely when things went pear-shaped. The Village has some of my favourite moments of all his films in it.
I will stand by Lady in the Water. I love it.
I know you love Lady in the Water. I can't fucking stand Lady in the Water.
I'm the only person, and I don't give a fuck.
And that's fine, man. Love what you love. I love it.
Exactly.
The Village is... it's a mixed bag, I understand. There are some elements that don't entirely work, but I believe that's the case for every one of his films.
Absolutely.
And I think what makes his films so great are the highs are so fucking high. Like... So the good parts of The Village are so good and are equal with anything else in his filmography, I think. It just so happens that there's a couple of elements that don't work for everybody. Sure. And I don't tend to kind of subscribe to some of those. Mm-hmm. We can talk spoilers because we're now in 14 years later. Yeah. But I know a lot of people felt kind of hard done by the fact that the monsters weren't real.
Yeah, I love that.
And I actually really liked that too because it was the first... I think that was his way of saying, hey, guess what? Not every one of my movies is going to be the supernatural.
But there were so many ways to look at it. Like sometimes humans are the fucking monsters.
And that's it.
You know? And sometimes kids are told these things by adults to shelter you into thinking... other things,
yes. And look, he built a career on twists for those first couple of films.
Well,
yes, the twist itself. Well, because I actually quite like it because it's the only one of his twists, and I don't want to pull my own dick, but it's the only one of his twists that I legitimately did not see coming.
Really, you saw Sixth Sense coming?
Not from the beginning, but with probably about half an hour before the reveal, I was like, oh. I'm not sure he's alive. And there was one moment, I can't remember what it was. It was something to do with because I haven't seen this movie for a very long time, and I can't remember the exact moment. It was something to do with the doorknob
being red. Yeah,
something like
he does a color code, so everything red is.
So, and for some reason, it just there was an interaction he had just before with some, and it was really odd that they didn't acknowledge him, and then he did something with a red doorknob, and I was like, oh,
why is that?
And it just tweaked in my memory, and I'm not being like, I fucking figured it out. It was probably with only 5 minutes to go, really, but it was not. It wasn't right at the end.
I love a reveal.
Whereas literally in this, it was not until William Hurt brings out the photograph of them and I was just like, holy shit! Like that blew my mind. Blew my mind. And what was amazing about it is because it was at the same time as that scene was happening with Bryce Dallas Howard, knowing full well that she was like in a situation where she would probably get herself hurt because of Adrian Brody. And I thought it was really effective.
I remember watching this for the first time, and I don't know, I think we've talked about this before. I'm not one to guess. I hate guessing, and I don't try
to figure it out.
And
it's just
if something
try
kind of stay in the movie, be in the moment, and stay with them, so that when it happens, the surprise is actually, oh my fucking God.
I prefer the surprise, 100%.
So when I remember there was a bit, I haven't watched it since 2004, I'm pretty sure, because I only watched it once. I'd love to watch it again. There was the monster took off. It had like a jacket on. Took off to reveal kind of pointy things on its back, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" It was scary as hell.
And it looked
so scary.
And it managed to. This was the power of that film. Even after you found out that William Hurt and his cronies were the monsters, they were pretending to be the monsters to keep the people in. Even after knowing that, because that was like twist number one, and you thought, oh, that's the twist.
Oh, that's fine.
That's fine. They're just trying to keep. And then the next one is revealed, but then you are still on edge because she's being hunted by something. And so in your head, you're like, oh my God, maybe they were pretending to be these monsters, but the monsters actually exist still.
Yeah, so they were scaring them in. Yeah.
And that's what they based their design. Yeah, anyway. So I thought it was really effective. So the last 5 minutes are probably not fantastic. I'll pay that. It's a little bit weird when she finds the campground and everything, blah, 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 blah. There's a weird ticking noise. Can you hear that? What is that noise? Shh. Move around a bit.
That's not me.
No, that's not it. Okay, we're fine.
Hilarious.
So that's honorable mention. Let's keep smashing through. We've got 10 more to go. Number 10, Nicholas.
Number 10. All right. Number 10 goes to Mr. Quentin Tarantino. Kill Bill Volume 2.
Let's hang on to that one.
We're going to table that.
Yeah, we're going to hang on to that one.
Tys, your number 9. Number 10.
My number 10. I like to have the 10th spot. I've decided I'm going to name the 10th spot as my comedy movie that probably wouldn't get a lot of love otherwise. Yeah?
Well, this year was one of the best years for comedy.
There was some really good comedies, and I'm going to, no spoilers, but one comedy is featuring very highly on my list. Yeah. This is the comedy that I don't think would make a lot of other top 10 lists. Okay. That I've decided I want to put at my number 10 to acknowledge that while it's not going to pop up on anyone's fucking Oscars list of this year, it was a very funny comedy, and that is Dodgeball, true underdog story.
Oh, nice. I like that.
I love this film. Absolutely love it. Yeah. And it came at a time where I think we were all kind of unaware how absurd these guys, the playground these guys could run in. You know what I mean?
That's true.
We'd had stuff like Zoolander and,
There's Something About Mary and all that stuff.
We'd had all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But this was taking a concept that honestly was just so ridiculous. We were about to watch, competing gyms playing a dodgeball grand final.
But I didn't think that this was a real thing. It is a real, dodgeball comps is a massive thing.
I don't know if they started after this film or not. But look, and I also have an affinity to it because as a, side note, full disclosure, I do play in a dodgeball team.
He does.
And
which is fucking awesome.
Which is it's the most fun, and I love it. It's a really good time, and I'm so glad I'm doing it. But I think having this is when I discovered that I really liked Vince Vaughn.
Oh, really?
Because he's always been kind of the supporting player, and I really liked him in Swingers. I'd seen Swingers well before this, but in Swingers, he's a character that you love, but he's kind of a bit of a scumbag.
So true.
And we had he popped up in other things as kind of not the most lovable character. And maybe something like Old School, which was, I believe, was the year before this.
See, that's the one.
Was the first time where I was like, yeah, okay, Vince Vaughn. But in this, he masters the everyman character. Yeah. He does it so well. And when you put him up against Ben Stiller doing one of the top 10 comedic performances of that decade, because he is going for it.
He is dialed up to 11. He really is in this.
But he does it so well. And that's another thing as well, because Ben Stiller had come from being the everyman for such a long time. Yes, he'd done same thing again. He'd done Zoolander, so we saw that he had this kind of animated streak to him, but this was on a different level, I thought.
No, this was,
and you get these amazing characters like Pete the pirate, like
Pete the pirate,
who is Alan Tudyk. I can never say his name. Who I love from like Firefly and a bazillion other things. Wash, and Justin Long just being adorable, copping wrenches in the head. You get Rip Torn just doing this absolutely bonkers. Rip Torn had this little stint where he would pop up in comedies.
Random comedies.
Like
and
Freddy
just lay down a fucking hilarious lines.
How awful is he in Freddy Got Fingered? You're just like, what Rip Torn?
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a
And then, like you get as Chipso Houlihan or whatever his name is.
Oh my God.
And there's wonderful cameos, amazing like character performances, so many quotable lines. I think it's hilarious. It's underrated really because I think a lot of people just kind of go, Dodgeball, that's dumb and fun. But it was great. Really clever comedic writing.
You can still watch Dodgeball now. 100%.
I watch it like once a year because I find it so funny.
It's fucking gold.
Yeah.
When the cheerleader sits on Justin Long's head.
So many things. When Chips O'Houlihan gets crushed by a luck of the Irish neon sign. The irony of that alone is worth watching.
Many laughs. Oh, God.
Dodgeball. Good. Number 10. What is your number 9, Nicholas?
Number 9, Tyson, is a movie that we actually talked about in episode 12 of our podcast.
What's that?
And that is Dawn of the Dead remake.
Oh, very good. It was in my honourable mentions.
Yeah.
Yes, very much
This was our introduction to Zack Snyder. This has massive rewatchability for me.
Yeah, huge.
And this was the start. I don't want to go into too much because we've done a whole episode. If you want to hear what me and Tys
what episode was that?
Had to talk about, number 12.
That was volume 1 of Everything Old is New Again, our series where we look at remakes and the originals. So jump on,
have a listen, and you can hear
because we have a very detailed discussion about it. Then
it was awesome. It was it really marked the start of zombies in the mainstream. Yeah. From now, like we've got Fear of the Walking Dead, we've got The Walking Dead, we've got every video game has some zombie element to it.
I think it was the Hollywood fully embrace of that after we had Danny Boyle with 28 Days. What it was called. No, that's the Sandra Bullock one. 28 Days Later. Yeah.
No, we were just shortening it. We knew what it was. Now we come off as douches.
Yeah, but it was the Hollywood embracing of the fact that, know what, we're doing zombies. No, we're doing zombies. It's time for the 21st century zombies.
Yep.
And it's turned into this $1 million market again.
Massive.
That we haven't really seen since George A. Romero first kind of introduced zombies back in the late 60s.
Living Dead. Rest in peace, George Romero.
Yeah, sad news recently. We had quite a few horror icons
die off.
Two great ones. And Toby Hooper, the director of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which really sucks.
The original.
Yeah. None of this remake.
And the best one.
Full bullshit. Marcus Nisbel. No one's going to be crying over him. Sorry. That sounds really awful.
That was gold.
That was the most mean thing I think I've ever said.
That was awesome.
But very good, yeah.
But number 9.
That's your number 9.
All right, Tys. Number 9 for you.
My number 9 is a volume. Volume? Is an episode.
What are you talking about?
Is a franchise entry.
Oh.
That is it's my favourite of the franchise, maybe bar the final one. And that is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Oh, see, this didn't make any list for me. But this is quite, out of all, if you were to say to me, what's your favourite Harry Potter film? Yeah. This is it.
And I think this is objectively the best film of the series.
Absolutely.
I think it's really hard to not enjoy watching the last film more just because of the moments. The moment to moment of it it's far more enjoyable for a fan. Like you get caught up in the moments because you see this bit happen and this bit happen and this bit happen and these people fight and these people fight and this bit. And so that, the seventh one has a lot of kind of rewatchability in that sense because you get to see all the characters you love kind of reach their conclusion. But as a film, I think it's really hard to go past this as the best of the series.
Yeah.
Considering the series has some pretty low points as well. Like
it really does.
I really don't enjoy the fourth film. I think the first
Goblet of Fire.
Yeah, and I think the first and second films are really quite poor. And so
I shine a light for Chamber of Secrets. I think Chamber's
probably my least favorite.
But it's no way. Are you serious? No, I can't stand the fucking first one because the fucking first one is just Harry walking around going, "What's Hagrid? What is that?
What does
Hagrid,
this mean?
What is that?
Oh, that's a
Hagrid. What is that? Shut up, kid! I'm gonna fucking punch you in the head."
Yeah. It's basically 2.5 hours of exposition and then 15 minutes of story.
But I don't like the reason that I don't agree with what you said on the last film either.
Okay,
I'm not a huge fan of that because as a film, if you were to look at it as a film, it sucks. It doesn't. You would have to read the books to understand what is going on.
Yeah, okay.
I
can't. It's hard to remove myself from that, I guess, because I have read
the books. Yeah. But as far as a film goes, Prisoner of Azkaban,
I think it's the most.
The top,
it's the most accomplished. You have an incredible director in Alfonso Cuarón, who
Academy Award winning.
Well, Academy Award winning, exactly, and the way he handles probably the most complex plotting. Like a lot of the other films have kind of almost soap opera-esque kind of plot developments, whereas this one legitimately has a complicated time travel kind of thing going on. The way he handles it is, I think, remarkably well and
different
very
layers.
easy to follow.
What's happening with Harry and Sirius?
Yes, the relationship between Sirius and Harry is probably my favourite thing of the entire series. I think. I think it's just I think it's a really, really, but while managing to be a kids' film at the same time, like this is the thing that I think some of the later films maybe struggled to do is to make it accessible for, because you got to remember, yes, we grew up with Harry Potter, and so at film 7, a lot of the people were quite older but that doesn't mean that there aren't 10-year-olds
watching
discovering
7.
it for the first time. And I think some of these later films are a bit. A bit too adult. That's because they're not as easily accessible as children's films.
Okay.
You've got the first two, which are literally made for babies. Yeah. And then you've got this third one, which I think is the perfect
it's that
balance.
Spin. It's the teenage. Yeah. Oh, we're teenagers now. Let's get a bit.
It's accessible enough for young kids, but it's got enough depth and kind of heavy-weighted shit for adults to enjoy as well.
That's so true.
I think it's just wonderful. It's my favorite of the series. It's the one I've seen the most as well, because I'm most happy to rewatch it out of order.
Yes.
I'll never just randomly watch a 5. Like I'll have to watch it. If I watch 5, it's because I'm watching it in order. Yeah. But I might just pick up 3 and chuck it on.
Okay. Yeah. I'm kind of the same. That's very true. My only gripe with Azkaban is that it goes down as one of the worst looking werewolves.
It's not a good looking werewolf
in my life,
which is a real shame because it sells. It kind of sells short one of the best characters in the books.
Lupin has
always been probably like just as a supporting character, just such a great character. And you're wanting to be this
it has
beautiful,
to be scary.
badass
A werewolf has to be really fucking scary,
Yeah.
you know? And it looked like you could kick it to the face and it'd go down easy. Yeah. Nice one. That was your number 9?
That was my number 9. So your number 8, Nicholas.
No, number 8. Oh, okay. Well, my number 8, Tyson.
Yes.
And this is going on rewatchability.
Oh, very good.
Is Mean Girls.
Mean Girls was in my honourable mentions.
Yeah.
Very good.
Number 8, Mean Girls. Written by... this was the introduction to Tina Fey. And for me...
Actually, it might have been mine too.
Yeah?
I think I was like, oh, that's that chick from Weekend Update. That was the most kind of.
Well, I've never had. See, this is what I hate. Yeah, and I'm very.
It's never
jealous
been
of people
easy to find Saturday Night Live. Like you have to work hard.
You have to. Yeah. But like my wife had Foxtel all growing up, so she watched shitloads of Saturday Night Live, and she said, Nick, you realise that 95% of it is jokes that don't land. The stuff that you're seeing. Like, the stuff that you're seeing on YouTube and stuff is the gold that people have gone, oh my fucking God, have you watched this? You know?
It's why Saturday Night Live has kind of resurgences and then drop-offs.
Yeah.
It's because 9 times out of 10, those sketches aren't fantastic, but it's the cast that you love, and so you're just willing to kind of go with them.
Yeah, exactly.
And on the off chance that they might crack up laughing, or they might sell a little bit, and you're like, oh, look, it's not the best written gag, but they're selling it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so this was kind of a good time for Saturday Night Live.
So I have no idea why I watched this. I was working at the video store at this time.
I saw this at the cinemas.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, so someone would have given me a Lohan buff.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I love Freaky Friday. That remake of Freaky Friday. For some reason, I love that.
It's a good movie.
Mostly because of Jamie Lee.
Yeah, but there's some good stuff in that.
Yeah. But so I would have watched the preview tape to Mean Girls. That's how I would have watched this for the first time.
Yeah.
But it must have been. I wouldn't have just picked up Mean Girls and just watched it. I'm so glad that I did though, because everyone, as soon as you heard about this, as soon as you watched this movie, you had to tell at least 5 people, oh my God, you need to see Mean Girls, because it is
This spread pretty quickly through my friendship group though, so I wasn't required to spread the word. We were all kind of quoting it very quickly. Yeah.
So many quotes. I think just on rewatchability.
Well, that's funny because I don't think I rewatched this.
Oh, really?
If it pops up on television, yeah, but I don't own it, and I've never really sought it out. It's got great moments in it.
No, I'm talking about in 2004.
Oh, I watched it.
This got
you're right.
rewatched
I watched
a
this
billion times. Yeah, see, I don't own this anymore,
No.
but for the time and for what it was, and for something that still, like, every now and then.
If it's on television,
exactly.
I'm not
me and my
turn it
wife will
off.
shout at each other. You know, Danny DeVito, I love your work. You know, things like that. And it doesn't. my wife has an uncanny comparison to Lacey Sherbert. A little bit,
yeah, she does a little bit. No, good call.
But so she got a lot of fetch.
Yeah, don't try to make fetch a thing.
Yeah, she tried to make fetch a thing. But yeah, it was really hilarious at the time. And yeah,
it was. And
if it's on, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh no, I agree. And it was kind of like teen movies are interesting because we get a lot of shit. We get a lot of shit teen movies, and it's nice to get good ones that you can hold up, not just because they're enjoyable to hang out with these people for 2 hours, but because they're legitimately well written, good characters, good developed kind of storylines. And this is one of them. This is one of those ones where you can actually look at it and say, look, it's not just a good teen movie, it's objectively a good film. And there's not always, you don't get a lot of those.
You don't get a lot. You don't get a lot. And just with, it showed the comic power of Tina Fey, her writing ability.
Because
that is, exactly. There are so many moments.
She's an incredibly strong writer.
Just hilariously funny. And just in the small one-liners, they're not have to be bit, set up, gag. It's not like that. In this, there's like little things that are just fucking hysterical.
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you there.
That was my number 8.
That was your number 8.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to do my number 8 quickly.
Okay.
My number 8. I had to get a sports movie in here somewhere.
Oh, dude, I knew you would too.
Yeah.
I do.
Oh, well, and this is a good one.
Please.
It's spawned a very effective television series as well.
Yeah.
So my number 8 is Friday Night Lights.
Amazing.
The Peter Berg directed Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
Who has probably not really topped it, I don't think, as far as his... I think he showed a lot of promise. Peter Berg as an actor, he pops up in a lot of things, and you gotta go, Peter Berg. Look at you go. A lot of kind of, he's good as like a crony. If you need like a gang crony.
Yeah. He's always the guy in the gang that gets shot.
Yeah, I equate him similar to Michael Rappaport. Do you know,
oh, God, fuck, I hate Michael Rappaport.
I feel like they would be hanging out together in films a lot.
Yeah.
So Peter Berg directed Friday Night Lights. It's based on a book. I have the book.
Nice. Is it a good book?
It's a great book.
Yeah.
And this is one of the perfect examples of a film that is taking a very well-known and well-worn topic and is using that to tell a very different story.
Right.
This is a movie about about football, obviously, and Texas and the importance of high school football on this small town. But more than that, it's just about how the pressure that we put on high school kids, the
pressure there is on yourself.
The pressure you put on yourself to realize your dreams.
Yeah.
It says a lot about the disillusionment of... think about the percentage of people that actually get to become what they want to become when they're in high school age. You know what I mean? Like, we all had such incredibly high dreams.
Yeah.
And what's really sad about this film is that these guys lived it for a couple of years.
Yeah.
They got to it. So it would be my equivalent of when I was 16 being cast in like fucking...
Doing a stretch
as like...
Broadway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then they have that taken away from you.
When I was 18, them saying, oh, we don't need you anymore.
Yeah,
thanks.
exactly.
You had a good couple of years.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then knowing that for 3 years of your life or 2 years or whatever it was, you lived like a king. You were the most...
Everyone in the town
Everyone
knew
loved you.
you.
Everyone would, they'd buy your food. They'd shout your things. You'd get discounts on this. You'd get discounts on that. Girls would throw themselves at you. And then you finish high school.
Yeah.
And then suddenly... you're nothing.
I've watched a lot of docos. I've watched 4 or 5 docos on what you just spoke about.
Yeah, sure.
Undefeated is one of
I've seen Undefeated as well.
I was in tears when I heard that.
Yeah, Undefeated. That's a weird one. The guy that's based on, I felt was really strange.
Yeah.
The head coach guy. Do you know?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
really?
I got really weird vibes
from
him. So
don't ruin it.
I couldn't connect with it entirely because I was like...
oh, fuck. Do I need to rewatch this again?
Well, just maybe do some research on him.
Oh, fucking hell. Nothing is pure, people. Nothing is pure.
But yes, that movie perfectly demonstrates it as well.
But yeah.
But the thing about Undefeated that I actually kind of respect is it's more about giving kids that would never have the opportunity...
a chance.
Yeah. This is more about making kids... treating them like... rock star royalty.
Yeah.
When they have really no right to be treated that way, and how we are setting up these kids for failure.
Yeah.
We are basically...
life after high school.
Yeah, because we're giving them no real sense of reality.
Yeah.
We're giving them nothing that they can then take away... no real skills.
Yeah.
And this is why so many of these guys, and it comes up in the movie, end up as broken down alcoholics who watch videotapes of their old high school glory days, because that's all they know. That's all they know how to do. That's all they were trained to do, because they don't make them give a fuck about their studies. They don't make them think about what's going to happen.
They give them all A's and
this is
like,
well,
see you on Friday.
you've got to, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Catch those fucking long balls or whatever,
We have no idea.
I do watch the sport, but I'm pretty it's one of those sports where I kind of watch and go, yeah, cool, all right.
I love it. I actually love. Is it? Would you say gridiron? Is it called gridiron?
Gridiron, American football. Yeah,
so I would actually play. I don't like AFL. I never watched. AFL is the Australian rules football. Yeah. I don't barrack for it. If I lived in America, I probably would play American football.
I'd be a big NFL fan.
Yeah.
I used to play it on Xbox. I was all about it.
Huge.
But yeah, so Friday Night Lights really covers that well. You've got Billy Bob Thornton doing a really lovely
Amazing
performance
job.
as the head coach. You've got a couple of younger actors who do some really good work.
Lucas Black,
who's a bit of a weird kind of unit. I've never really understood why he kind of, do you know what I mean? Like, what a weird kind of, he had like 3 films and then he was nothing.
And then he just went to nothing. No, he's done a lot of TV.
He's not a very charismatic actor. Is it Jay Hernandez in this?
Jay Hernandez.
Is that him?
Yes, Jay Hernandez.
So really cool.
I know Jay Hernandez. Why do I know Jay Hernandez?
He was in Suicide Squad recently. Yeah. But yeah, definitely get on it. And if you liked the show, you will like this movie. It deals with very similar issues. The focus is a little bit less on the coach, because the TV show was really all about. Oh God, why can't I think of his name now?
The lead guy?
Yeah, it's really important that I know his name because I won a trivia not too long ago because I knew his name.
Oh, I'm not going to tell you. Is it the character's name or the actor's name?
No, we'll come back. The actor's name. Oh, Kyle Chandler. Okay, it was there.
You got it. Yeah, we got there in the end.
Anyway, that's my number 8.
Nice.
So, Nicholas, it's time to it's time for a game. And our first game for this evening will be run by yours truly.
All right, Tys.
That's me. So, my game. This is the same game I played with Jemima when we played We Rank Stuff for 1999.
Yeah.
The game is, there were a lot of forgotten movies from 2004. Movies that someone could literally show you a poster and your reaction would be like, what is this movie?
What the fuck is that?
When did this movie happen?
Fair deal.
Or, the other alternative, and this is what happens to me a lot, is I remember that movie.
Yeah.
No one saw that movie.
Yeah, that's so true.
So, I'm going to give you, Nicholas.
Go on.
I'm going to give you the IMDb synopsis, the plot synopsis.
Oh, okay, yep.
For these films. And I want you to tell me what the title of this film is.
Let's go.
We'll do maybe 4 or 5, depending. I'm going to start you with an easy one.
Okay. Do I get points? Do I get a candy bar at the end or something?
You get a point. You get 1 point if you get it right.
All right. 1
point.
Okay. Bring it on.
Okay. I'm just going to check which one's the best one. Yeah, this is succinct. I like this. Okay. Are you ready?
Here we go.
Forgotten movies of 2004.
Dun, 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 dun.
A firefighter, injured and trapped in a burning building, has flashbacks of his life as he drifts in and out of consciousness. Meanwhile, fellow firefighters led by the chief attempt to rescue him.
Fuck. That was an easy one?
Was
that an easy one?
It might have been if I, but I have the luxury of knowing what the title is.
Right.
So that is the plot synopsis.
It's not Fahrenheit. It's Ladder. Ladder 49.
Ladder 49.
Oh my
God! Yes. The ill-fated firefighting movie starring Joaquin Phoenix and John Travolta, directed by Jay Russell. I didn't know that.
Who's Jay Russell?
Jay Russell has a
film.
Reasonably kind of.
I can't believe I remember that. You know why I remember that? There's only been 3 firefighting movies.
Ever.
There's Backdraft, which everyone remembers.
Everyone fucking loves Backdraft.
And if you have gone to the Warner Brothers Movie World theme park, you would remember the Backdraft. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
The Backdraft ride? No one remembers it. It took it down within 2 weeks. It was shit.
Well, very good. You're 1 from 1.
And
1 from 1.
Ladder 49.
Ladder 49. Very good.
Nice one. Next one.
Next one. You ready?
I want a buzzer. Can I have a buzzer? I want my buzzer to be like a sound, like a movie sound. You know what I want it to be? I want it to be like a Wilhelm scream.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm not going to add that in.
That's
I don't have time for
that's
that
fine.
shit. But next time. Okay, here we go. You ready? Next synopsis. When the son of a gangster shark boss is accidentally killed while on the hunt, his would-be prey and his vegetarian brother both decide to use the incident to their own advantage.
What?
There's one key word in that I want to highlight again.
Vegetable.
No. When the son of a gangster shark boss...
tail. Jesus. I knew it was that. I knew it. I really did. But I thought, when you kept going, I'm like, it's definitely not that.
No, it definitely is that. 2004 produced the film Shark Tale, which was everything that was wrong with animated films in the early 2000s. Will Smith voicing a fish of some description. Yeah. Jack Black voicing some kind of giant shark.
And
it was all nonsense. It was nonsense.
Scorsese played the dad.
Yeah, Scorsese. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
What's going on there?
Yeah. All I remember is working at the car wash.
Yeah, there was some. Oh, fuck.
Christina, man, it was decent. I loved it.
Hey, you're doing good. 2 from 2.
2 for 2.
2 from 2.
Fucking bring it on. Maybe I do know things about movies.
Yeah, you're doing all right. You're doing all right. All right, are you ready? I'm going to give you a harder one.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Okay, yeah, this one. This actually isn't a harder one, but this is specifically for us.
Oh, bring it on.
Are you ready?
All right.
Oh, it gives it away pretty quick in the first sentence. A werewolf loose in Los Angeles changes the lives of 3 young adults who, after being mauled by the beast, learn that they must kill it in order to avoid becoming werewolves themselves.
What the fuck? There's a werewolf movie that I don't know about?
Oh, I reckon you know about this. Don't worry about that.
Really? Well, I know that Van Helsing came out this year, but it's not that.
It's not Van Helsing. Van Helsing is on my list of disappointments, by the way.
Oh, really?
That movie is a disappointment.
But one of the best fucking werewolves I've ever seen on screen, that movie.
Oh, really?
If Prisoner of Azkaban...
Isn't it all CGI nonsense, though?
It's better than a greyhound.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, werewolf movie.
I'll give you some clues.
Give me some clues. Give me one clue.
It was most disappointing, this film, because it came from the team that bought us Scream.
Scream? Fuck.
So it was the same writer and the same director of Scream.
Of Scream?
Yeah.
So, it wasn't...
It's a Wes Craven.
It's a Wes Craven movie? Fuck, Nicholas.
Wes Craven released a movie in 2004 about werewolves.
And I don't know it.
You're not missing much.
Hang on, wait. Does it have Christina Ricci in it?
It does have Christina Ricci in it.
Fuck. I can see the title. I can see the cover, but I don't know. Oh.
Starts with C.
Fucking... Oh, come on. All of you listening.
I've got everyone... People are like screaming.
People are screaming down the thing at me. Fuck. What is it? Is it... No, I got nothing. No. Fucking no. I'm gone.
Are you giving it up?
I'm giving up.
You giving up?
I'm passing. Pass.
With the almighty score of 31 as a Metascore and a 5.0 IMDb rating. So that's
5.0.
Anything below a 6, you're dealing with some real rough as guts movies.
C. Starting with
Cursed.
Oh, fucking Jesus.
Christina Ricci and Jesse Eisenberg.
Oh, fuck you, Jesse Eisenberg. I fucking hate you.
It's no good. This movie, if anyone's seen it, it's no good.
I love Christina Ricci.
It's no good. Yeah, she works hard. Joshua Jackson's in this also, by the way.
Oh, nice.
All right, you ready? One more. So you're 2 from 3. You're doing okay.
All right.
Let's try and go 3 from 4.
Yep.
Which one do I want to pick? I've got quite a few, and we're going to talk about some of these later because they're hilarious. I think.
Go on. Give me something.
All right, here we go.
Oh, it's a hard one.
No, okay, we're going to go this one.
Come on, give me a hard one.
You want a hard one?
I like hard.
I'm just going to leave that alone.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, here we go.
All right, come on, give it to me. Here we go.
2004 brought us this gem of a film. I'll give you this clue before we start.
Oh, no, I don't like clues.
Okay.
Come on.
I'll go straight. I'll go straight.
Let me go, come on.
A group of air crash survivors are stranded in the Mongolian desert with no chance of rescue, facing a brutal...
Without a paddle.
No. Hey, not bad.
Not bad?
No, based on, we're in the desert though. We're not in the jungle.
We're in the desert.
Not jungle desert.
Yep.
Facing a brutal environment, dwindling resources, an attack by desert smugglers. Here we go. This will give it away.
Here we go.
They realize their only hope is doing the impossible. Building a new plane from the wreckage of the old one.
Fuck. I know this. I know that it's got... Oh, fucking hell. I know this fucking movie.
Come on, you got
I know
this.
the cover.
Yeah, you do. I'll tell you this.
Does it have Phoenix in the title?
It fucking it does. It's a remake.
It's a remake.
It's a remake of a film from the 60s, I believe, or the 70s.
And it has...
Stars.
It has Steve Zahn in it? No?
Oh, you're mixing up your weird, quirky...
Desert movies.
No, you're mixing up your weird, quirky kind of character actors.
Am I?
It doesn't have Steve Zahn. It has Giovanni Ribisi.
Oh, fuck. Fly to the Phoenix.
Yes! Well done.
I win all the
Fly to the Phoenix, the forgotten film of 2004.
Fly to the Phoenix.
Which is not bad. I'm going to put it out there. I have seen it. It's not bad.
Oh, really? Oh, I like Giovanni. I'll watch anything with Giovanni. Does that have all right?
No,
it's
Dennis Quaid.
It's Dennis Quaid.
It's not Matthew McConaughey.
See, I'm thinking of Matthew McConaughey and Steve Zahn.
In
What's
Sahara.
That? Sahara. All right. That's what I was thinking of.
That's 2005, I believe.
Oh, they did it again.
Together at last. Well, there you go. 3 or 4, Nicholas. Not too bad. Not too bad.
Well done.
A couple of other films that I was going to mention in our Forgotten.
Yeah.
Do you remember Against the Ropes?
Oh, fuck. Yeah, I didn't watch it.
The Meg Ryan boxing manager film?
Because at that time, I had gone off Meg Ryan. I was all for Meg Ryan in the 90s. I'm a big fan of When a Man Loves a Woman. And I love Meg Ryan. Right up until the point where I think she did, was it Parky? Have you seen her on Parkinson?
Oh, when she was really fucking cranky and just like,
cunt.
Oh, here we go. We're dropping C-bombs.
We're dropping C-bombs. There's no need. You don't book yourself for an interview if you rock up on the and just don't give him anything.
Well,
what is the point of that?
Like, I always have to assume that there was some kind of, and we don't know about these kind of like the surrounding circumstances to these.
Exactly.
I have to assume because she doesn't seem like that kind of person.
She doesn't seem the person to get.
I have to assume
she was booked.
that something like ticked her off massively.
Oh, really?
Like I have to assume that Parkinson maybe did something really that pissed her off.
No, I think
I can't imagine that she's actually like that.
Well, in other
think about how many, like, she's never been the most accommodating person, I guess. But yeah, you're right.
You hear stories. You don't know whether
she has kind of.
She could be lovely. I don't know. I take it back.
I don't buy it.
I take it back, Meg Ryan. I'm pretty sure you're lovely.
I don't think she's. I don't think she's lovely. I think maybe that's not the greatest representation of her. Deal. Do you remember also this year there was a weird competing Exorcist films?
Yes. Was it Emily? Wasn't Emily Rose?
Oh no! I mean like The Exorcist.
Oh, The Exorcist.
So as in they had two directors trying to make the same film. We had Exorcist Dominion made by Paul Schrader.
Oh,
like
Paul Schrader,
as in Taxi Driver's screenwriter. Paul Schrader.
God.
I think that's.
Is that the same one?
Yeah, and we ended up getting instead The Beginning, which is a Rennie Harlan.
Yeah,
is it Rennie Harlan?
It's Rennie Harlan. Yeah, I looked at it,
and they're awful.
Yeah. Rennie Harlan, Nightmare on Elm Street 4, man.
Oh yeah, Rennie Harlan,
the biggest box office of them all.
He will always be. He'll be A-okay in my book for forever because of Cliffhanger and Long Kiss Goodnight. What else have we got? Godsend, the random fucking Robert De Niro's cloning children thing.
That was terrible.
What else have we got? That. There was the remake of the Stepford Wives.
That's true. Another one to stay away from. I've never jumped on board with
Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, never.
That's interesting.
No.
There was also the attempt to make a Fast and Furious style franchise out of motorbike racing.
That's true.
Talk
with Ice Cube.
With Ice Cube. I have seen Talk. It is...
So have I.
It is unwatchable.
That thing is... Do you remember the bit where he jumps from the road onto the train and back down?
Sure.
I was like, what is this shit?
I honestly felt like I had bridged the gaps between universes while watching that film because it is not made by human beings.
So
that
bad.
film. It is so unbelievably bad. That's
so
just a short kind of listing of some of the forgotten films. There's a few more here, but we might get to them later.
We'll get to them later.
But in the meantime, Nicholas, we're gonna jump back to our top 10.
We're going to crack on.
Why don't you get to your number 7?
Was it 7?
Yes.
Number 7 is a beautiful movie for me, and something that I love watching is Life Aquatic by Wes Anderson.
Oh, do you know what? I would have loved to have been able to put this on my list.
But you haven't seen
It's
it.
the only Wes Anderson I have yet to see. Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know why. It's just kind of... It's
just eluded you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the same boat. I'm in the same boat for... God damn it. What is the... It's the 3-worded one. 3 of them on the cover, and they've all got bandages on.
Oh, it's Darjeeling Limited.
Yeah. That one has always eluded me. And we finally watched that and I was like, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
That was lovely.
And look, I bet I'm going to love the fucking shit out of this movie.
So this opened me up to Wes. I saw Tenenbaums. I saw that and I didn't know what he was going for, or I didn't understand his humour. But
Tenenbaums, if you go into it without any kind of context, knowing who Wes Anderson is, it could be a bit of a jarring experience.
Weird.
Yeah,
it is a bit weird. But I was all for it. But Life Aquatic, this is where I've found out about Wes Anderson. Someone told me about it. Look, watch this. And the trailer actually got me in. The trailer just because of the bit where oh God, Bill Murray is being interviewed and he's got the headphones on and he does the dance and it's such a... You don't remember?
I don't remember this.
Oh, it's so funny. But anyway, what I love about this movie is, with all Wes Anderson movies, I feel they're just a pleasure to watch.
Yeah,
they're not a hard watch. His stories are always warm and heartfelt and hilarious, but not in the way that you think they're going to be hilarious. This isn't very true. This isn't a dodgeball. This is another sort of comedy.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's just a pleasure to watch. Wes Anderson, for me, is if someone were to say to me, Nick, name a director that is also an artist, Wes Anderson is the first person that comes to mind. Because he paints a picture with his movies.
Yes, and that might be a kind of the obvious example because, he is the most kind of, if you had to pick one that you could take almost any kind of frame of any of his films and print it out and hang it on your wall.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's just the way he has decided to make his films. Yeah. He focuses a lot on symmetry and
very stylized.
And balanced and it's wonderful what he does. It's really amazing and so. But what I think works in his favor though is that that could be it. You know what I mean? Like for certain lesser filmmakers, that would be it.
Yeah,
it would just be about a visual style that is like, oh yeah, it's great, it's wonderful to look at. But there's
no essence. This thing has so much essence.
His films have incredible amounts of heart, and they are just they're. I honestly hope he's one of those directors that we do remember for quite some time and not just as like a flash in the pan kind of like
and just keeps going.
He was the guy that
made those Bill Murray movies
and they were quirky and everyone wore weird jackets like that's I hope it's not just kind of defined as that because it's really beautiful what he does.
So good. Excellent. So good. So Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou.
Good title.
That's the good title.
Actually, when we were going to do this show, when we said 2004, over the weekend, I thought to myself, I'm going to watch a 200004 movie, one that I haven't seen, just a sec. And that was the one I wanted to watch, but it was not available anywhere. So, yeah, well, not, and I was like, I'm not going to pay for it right now. If it was, and considering I subscribe to about 6 different streaming services, the fact that I couldn't watch it for free, I was just like, fuck this.
Yeah, fair deal. But it is worth the, how much is it to rent it?
Probably $6, $5 or $6.
Totally worth it. Absolutely worth it.
My number 7.
What is your number 7, Tyson?
My number 7 is the Michael Mann thriller. I guess we'll call it Collateral.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Nowhere on your list?
Nowhere on my list.
That's amazing.
It's Michael Mann is a little hit and miss for me.
Sure,
but
sure.
Yeah, I would like to watch this again because I remember it being. He's another very stylized director,
heavily stylized,
and,
for sure.
Coming off the back of Miami Vice,
yes.
That's why I kind of went into this a bit.
I haven't seen Miami Vice, and I'm very much looking forward to watching it. I think I was put off a little bit by earlier reviews, but it seems to me that a lot of people are coming around on it. I seem to be reading a lot of stuff online about how it's his kind of undiscovered masterpiece.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Well, maybe it's time I watched it. And I, like some people, including a friend of the podcast, Jemima Bucknell, speak very highly of Miami Vice.
Yeah.
Collateral, though, has always been what I consider his little film that could. Do you know what I mean? Like if people are always going to point to Heat as being the Michael Mann, the most Mannest Michael Mann film. And that's what, and Heat is a masterpiece, don't get me wrong. Like I adore it. But Collateral has always been that little one that I'm like, hang on, don't discount this one, just because it's got Tom Cruise in it.
Which is a hard sell, but
which is sometimes a hard sell. It shouldn't be. It's an incredibly it's finally a performance where Tom Cruise, remember he did this little passage of time where he put himself in films where he wasn't just being Tom Cruise in a movie. You had a really Magnolia.
Interview with the Vampire.
Interview with the Vampire is a good choice as well. Magnolia, very unlikable character. Eyes Wide Shut. And this as well, to an extent, is when it wasn't about Tom Cruise, the superstar. He actually put himself in positions where he had to be the character. And so we couldn't just go, oh, he's doing a star-making role or a star-based role. He's actually being an actor. And I think he does incredibly good work in this as an assassin who kind of... it's not kind of blackmails. Basically tells Jamie Foxx, who's a cab driver, that you're going to drive me around for the night.
And if you do, I won't shoot you.
Yeah. You do this and I won't kill you.
Yeah.
That's your deal. That's the deal.
That's the deal
basically.
You get,
because he likes it. He actually kind of he does it because he likes him for some reason.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because he's his first. He picks him up normally as a job, and then because he witnesses his first, he's like, well you're with me for the rest of the night now. Yeah, because I don't want to have to deal with anybody else.
Yeah.
They have a really interesting dynamic. They have this really interesting respect for each other. Jamie Foxx it's good to see Jamie Foxx kind of. Jamie Foxx is a really interesting actor, I think, because sometimes he gives into his kind of I'm a superstar mentalities, and then other times.
And sometimes he plays a character actor that'll blow you away.
Sometimes he just does these small kind of character actor parts, and this is he allows himself to be for it to be a non-flattering part in this film, which I think is really great.
Yeah. You get the sense it's kind of hard for him to do that.
Yeah. Well, not so much hard for him to do it, but it's that he made the choice to do that, and you know, you acknowledge that and go, you know what, you didn't have to. You could have said no to this film, a la someone like Will Smith, who Will Smith, it's well reported, has turned down roles because it wasn't heroic enough for him, you know, because he didn't get to kill the bad guy and stuff like that.
Suicide Squad. See Suicide Squad.
And this is one of those films where it's like, it's not a flattering role for Jamie Foxx. Like he does kind of win the day in the end, but it's more through sheer perseverance than actual any kind of skill or ability. It's filmed on, it's one of the first films that is filmed digitally that I actually could stand. I remember when digital was first becoming a thing, I was like, I can't watch this. I would prefer to watch video, like bad VHS video, than I would prefer to watch digital, because it just looks so fake. It looks like somebody, it has no cinema quality to me. And obviously when you've got someone like Michael Mann involved, who's
a visual director,
you can see that there are ways to make digital work. And considering now we live in a world where basically 9 out of 10 films are filmed on digital, back in 2004 this wasn't the case, but you know, it's nice to see a film that doesn't look like balls filmed on video.
So true. But we get this research, like I don't know whether we've gone up to filming are we filming in 4K yet? We're filming past that.
We generally, the digital filming now is 4K? Mostly 4K filming,
But when Avatar came around, filming in digital was kind of the same as the Clash of the Titans 3D. So that 3D was hailed as the worst 3D ever to come about, because we were still finding our feet with 3D.
That was the example of the post-conversion 3D where it was just like, oh, what are you doing? This is awful.
Don't
and look, digital is as effective now as actual film. There's some kind of, you know, you watch something that's on actual film and you do notice the difference. I don't care what anyone says. I can notice the difference. But I care less about it now. You know, you watch something like, you know, the way Nolan refuses to film digitally. You'll always film on film itself, and there's just a quality to the picture that you can't replicate. But it's no longer an example of the quality of the film. In 2004, it kind of was an example that if you were filming digitally, it's because you couldn't afford film, and so your film's probably a bit kind of
sucky.
Maybe not sucky, but very low budget, and
it just has a certain look to it. It's not sucky. It's just there's a look to it that is.
And when you're making
distinct,
like a high quality kind of thriller, like LA thriller. Digital, and even like a couple of years later, when Mann made Public Enemies, I think that's an awful example of digital filmmaking. It looks,
that's true.
Some of it looks so terrible. Some of it looks like
that was a bad movie.
Well, I didn't enjoy it, but I actually I think it's because sometimes it looks like someone cracked out their phone who were on set and
started filming,
grabbed some random shots, and they went, we'll take that. We can use that.
True.
But you don't get that at all during Collateral. I think it's really effective. Yeah, get on it, Michael Mann. Everyone loves Michael Mann. If this is one of those ones you haven't seen, get on it.
Get on it.
All right,
I'm going to give it another shot.
Yeah, give it another shot.
Yeah.
Your number 6, Nicholas.
My number 6. Ooh, my number 6 is a Taylor Hackford film. Tys.
Okay, Taylor Hackford.
Come on.
Ooh,
no,
Taylor Hackford. What did he direct? Oh, he directed. I know what he directed this year.
Yeah, right.
It was in my honorable mentions, but no, I took it off my honorable mentions. As a matter of fact, it was there, and I was like, it's a good movie, but I don't need to talk about it again.
As far as a biopic goes, this is the benchmark for me.
Sure.
This I thought this movie was executed amazingly. So the beautiful mix of story and music that they had, like the balance, was amazingly done. Jamie Foxx deserved his Oscar for this.
There is no doubt. There is no doubt.
He really did.
It's an impersonation that is almost perfect.
Yeah.
But then goes beyond that.
Yeah, you don't see Jamie Foxx.
You don't see Jamie Foxx anymore.
You don't see Jamie Foxx at all.
It's 100% correct.
But yeah, it was so much. I hated that for some reason Walk the Line got a lot more. It was the year after, I believe.
I liked Walk the Line a lot.
I didn't like Walk the Line. I don't like
Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash. I'm not a huge Cash fan.
No, that's fine.
I like him more now, but at the time when Walk the Line came out, this is not my fault. At the time when Walk the Line came out, I was working in Borders, and they played. It had a 5-disc stacker that was all Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
So that for I think it was a month.
That'll do it to you, man.
I can't stand Johnny Cash anymore. The only reason this isn't higher on my list, because this would be higher. I've rewatched this quite a lot, being a massive Ray Charles fan.
Sure.
Is the ending. And for me,
I can't remember the ending.
But that's the thing. No one will, because it doesn't. It didn't end. It
doesn't end.
It dropped off, and there wasn't a. For me, a good ending or a weak ending can make or break a film.
Of course.
And this kind of, it was like, it was kind of a throwaway. They didn't really have an ending to this. So, I love this movie. I love Taylor Hackford as well.
I'm a bit hit and miss with Taylor Hackford. I think he's got a few good films in him for sure. I definitely haven't seen everything. Because he's, a lot of the older stuff I haven't seen.
You haven't seen? But Ray.
Yeah,
Number 6.
I'll heavily support the performance of, is it Taraja? Is that how you say her name? Taraja P. Henson?
Taraja P. Henson, yeah.
Yeah, as his mother, as Ray's mother, in the flashbacks. True. I think the way that they demonstrate the flashbacks, and the way he kind of adjusts to blindness, and the way that the motif of the water leaking into his subconscious,
seeing his brother,
I think is probably the strongest elements of that film.
Such a beautiful
because
movie.
It's I think I have no idea what it's like to be blind, but I can only imagine that memories would infect your implied vision in that way.
Yeah.
So you would have, being blind must be one of the most scary things in the world. But, when you can't see anything, how can you trust anything that you feel as well? So,
and you see him go through all of these things.
Yeah. And so the way that they have the water, which is obviously the kind of the harbinger of memories of his brother, leak into his reality. I feel like that's a really really clever way of representing what it would be like for somebody,
especially
in
not
that
dealing. So good.
But yeah, I found those moments the strongest of the film. 100%. Good. It's a good movie. Don't get me wrong. I've got it, and it's just one of those things that I've watched. I've never watched since I saw it at the cinema.
Oh, really?
But I bought it with the intention of watching it and just never got around to it. So I will get around to it at some point.
And it's awesome.
100%.
And Richard Schiff.
Oh, I love Richard Schiff.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm totally in. I can't wait to go home. Yeah.
All right, let's move on because we're running out of time.
We are.
We got a lot to fucking get.
What was your number 6?
My number 6 is Pixar's version of Fantastic Four: The Incredibles.
We're gonna sit on.
We'll come back to that.
Put a pin in there.
Great.
Excellent.
Your number 5.
My number 5. Oh, jeez. My number 5 was this Australian made? No, not Australian made, but Australian guys. It's James Wan. Saw number 1.
Yes, I wanted to.
I have to put it in there.
I didn't know how to make it work with my list, but yeah,
number 5.
I'm with you.
I chucked it in because this thing was just a different. This was another step up. This was another evolution of horror.
100%.
Because it was in the midst of the torture porn, whatever that was, because that was a thing, and which died off quite quickly because there was nowhere for it to go.
There's nowhere for it to go.
No. What happened with this came something with. You had the torture porn horror story, but it came with a decent story.
Well, I think what it did, I think it made it there are torture porn elements.
Yeah.
But
it's not the crux of
when
it.
you actually watch Saw, there's very little
gore. Like you don't
torture gore.
Yeah.
Yes.
You get some bits.
Carrie Elwes cuts his leg off, but you don't see it.
Yeah.
What's the person has their jaw
snapped. You don't see that.
No, actually, because she escapes it, doesn't she? Yeah.
What you see is the other ones, the cops dealing with. He had a candle. He was covered in lighter fluid, and he had to get out of the razor wire. It's not
the same. It's not presented in the same way as the torture porn kind of stuff did, where you're just forced to stare at
watch at it. Yeah,
it was in service of
the story.
A really interesting serial killer mystery.
Exactly, and that's the other thing. This brought us a great villain. In Jigsaw.
Well, initially a great villain. Yeah. I can't vouch for how it went in the last couple of films.
We're going to rewatch it.
Yeah,
but yes, with something genuinely scary and with I never guess anything, like I said before, and this had the mother of all twists for me. Fuck. Spoilers for Saw, he's in the fucking room.
Look, and
oh my god.
I tend to kind of. I bet you there's at least 100 YouTube videos that pick shit out of the fact that he's in the room while it happens.
Why though? You didn't think of it. It was awesome. For me.
No, but
it was
awesome.
awesome.
It's a great twist. I don't think it makes or breaks the film. It is a great one because
No,
it is
I love
one
it.
that it's the one that makes your jaw drop at the end.
Yeah.
And then you turn to the person next to you and you're like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
And that's really great. It's probably best not to go too deep on the logistics of that. But at the same time, it's very effective in the moment.
He would have pissed his pants halfway. Like he would have had no water. Don't think about it.
You
It's
can't
just
think
awesome.
you just
It's
can't think
awesome.
about it.
Exactly.
But yeah, the effectiveness of him getting up,
At the end,
the reveal while intercut with all the reveals of the rest of the story,
and the heaviness of that door slam.
Yes, and the door slam and the game over and the scream. It's one of the all-time great
What a
endings.
fucking ending, man.
Yeah, and very effective.
Yeah, and producers are still milking this cow. Tyson.
Yeah,
we're getting Saw
Jigsaw
8 this year.
Which I'm actually excited for because of the Australian directors, the Sprague brothers. So
Jumping in.
Yeah,
Something
I think
refresh.
The trailer's not fantastic, but it could be a lot of fun. It seems like they're kind of leaning into the comedy elements a little bit, or the lighthearted elements.
Really?
It's a bit
again.
sassy. The trailer, like there's a little bit of about it. So I'm interested to see what they're bringing to it. But I like that pick. I like that a lot.
Awesome.
All right, my number 5.
Number 5. Yeah.
I reckon this will be higher on your list.
Oh, go on.
This is the first of the Cornetto trilogy.
This is higher. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we'll come back to that. I feel like we're almost at the point where you're out of your entirety of your list of things that I had higher on my list.
Maybe.
Can't have many left. Nicholas, jump to your number 4, please.
Number 4. My number 4 is The Amazing Anchorman.
Let's come back to that one.
Let's come back to that one. There we go.
There we go. All right. Well, my number 4, this is one that was higher on your list lower on your list, but my number 4 is Kill Bill Volume 2.
Volume 2.
Where was that on your list
That was
again?
number 10.
That was your number 10.
What was that yours?
Number 4.
Number 4. Fuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 4.
All right. Let's have it, Tys.
Let's have it.
You started off.
All right. Well, it's the better of the two.
What?
Yeah.
What are you, insane?
No.
Wow.
100%.
This is some difference right here.
I think it is
really
easily the better of the
What
two.
do you mean easy?
Like,
Are you
I think
intense?
Kill Bill Volume 1 is an awesome action exploitation throwback to 70s Kung Fu. Kill Bill Volume 2 is...
Yeah, but Kill Bill Volume 2 is
where all the meat of that story happens.
Yeah, that's what I don't want to see. I don't want to see that.
That's the stuff that I dig,
no,
man.
it took it changed from 6th gear to 2nd, and I was like, oh, what's going on? I did like it. Like, I appreciate it, what it brings and what QT is playing to the training with Pai Mei and the Black Mamba in the caravan and things like that. And
see, and this is don't get me wrong. I think the training, the cruel tutelage of Pai Mei is my favorite chapter of Kill Bill, easily. But for me, and I know that a lot of people don't dig as much of this, but Kill Bill is made by David Carradine for me as Bill.
Oh, okay.
He is such a fucking charismatic villain.
Yeah, he's great.
And I adore their relationship, and you don't get that in Volume 1.
Yeah.
And so I think it's what elevates
Volume 2
the volumes
to the better.
Volume 2 to being the real fucking crux of where it's at.
Yeah.
Because don't get me wrong, 1 is so much fun. 1 is
amazing,
is heaps of fun. The fight choreography is incredible.
Intercut with the anime in there.
The anime stuff. There's some really the storytelling elements are really cool. There's some cool character stuff in it. But 2 is the meat. 2 is the character meat. 2 is getting your hands dirty and really getting to know these people. Even Michael Madsen.
Yeah,
who,
I loved
his segment is so great.
Bud.
Yeah.
Bud.
And so I just feel I feel like 1, obviously 2 doesn't work without 1. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
I'm fully aware that 2 can't be as good as it is without the great work that 1 does.
I see these as a one piece.
And I do as well.
You know what I mean?
I definitely see them as one piece, but we're in a position where we've got Kill Bill Volume 1 as 2003.
Yep.
So, if I can talk about this as a single film, and
Absolutely.
I think the best parts of the Kill Bill combined element happen in the second volume.
Oh, that's not for me. See, I want to fight though. I want to see those fight scenes.
The fights are great. Don't get me wrong. The fights are great.
And I just
but
feel
how good is having Uma Thurman and fucking David Carradine sit down and have that conversation about Superman?
I know. Believe me, I knew.
It's so fucking good.
It was so fucking good. It's just that I loved all of that up until even the reveal of the daughter and all of that stuff. It's just that when he said, okay, we're going to get to this, I wanted it to be backyard. I still wanted the five point exploiting technique. I still wanted that in there. I just want a little bit more a different style of fighting. I
Sure,
wanted
sure.
to see them fight together because this was,
See, this is the thing, and I think in some ways I completely agree, but it was kind of like I don't think there's a fight that would satisfy. So I think he made a clever choice to say, do you know what? The fight is the conversation.
But that's the thing. And it's so quick that it happens. That little, back and forth from the chair. That I don't know.
And
Maybe I changed my mind. I do like that, but yeah. For me, number one is the strongest because of the music. Because of the
you don't have to convince me. It's not like I think one is a piece of shit.
I know.
Like they're both fucking great.
They're so great.
But for me, there's just elements of two that speak to me at what I want out of a film because I get to see these characters that I really enjoy just sitting down talking, and it's amazing how much I love that. Like especially when it's Tarantino's dialogue and it's characters that I think we've spent up to that point 3 hours or so. Really building them up as being these complex but very likable characters, despite, Bill is a fucking monster. Yeah. But God, you love him. Like,
he's really charismatic and just lovely. Lovely to watch.
But it's not an argument. Like it's kind of just like, man, they're both great.
They're both great. Yeah, that's so true. And you can't watch one without the other. Like they're one piece for me.
They are one piece. I tend to watch them straight after each other. There's no if I'm going to sit down and watch one, I know that I'm going to watch the second one straight after. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
And hopefully one day we get the whole bloody affair. With them edited together.
Bring it on.
It'll be interesting though if we ever did get that. I wonder if it would actually be edited in any way. I wonder if you'd actually cut things out to make it flow better because I don't think I want anything cut out of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
And watching them as one piece is kind of irrelevant. Like, we live in a world where is it that inconvenient to take out a Blu-ray and then put another Blu-ray in?
No, really not.
Not really.
No.
So, as much as, I'd love the whole bloody affair, unless he's cutting it together to make one film by removing stuff.
I don't want that.
In which case, I trust him, but at the same time, I'm like, do you know what? I like the movies that we have, and I like watching them one after the other.
Actually, no, I do trust him because if you see Grindhouse as a whole, if you see how it was intended to be.
But that's a very different scenario.
It's a very different scenario.
Because I watch both those and think they're both too long and they both need to be cut.
No. I'm saying that, I don't agree with you. So I see them as a whole and I think that they're great as they are. But if you want to watch Death Proof just on its own, I think that it still holds up and I think that it's still
fair enough. If you have the option to watch, if you say you want to watch Death Proof by itself, you can watch the extended version if you want to watch them both together. I think I've only ever seen the extended versions of both of them. I've never seen.
Really?
I've seen all the trailers. I've seen all that stuff, but I've never seen them as one coherent whole.
Thing. Oh, dude, the Asta, man, we're going.
Well, I know I have it on Blu-ray. I just don't want to open it because I really like the packaging. It's cool.
I do have it on Blu-ray. It's amazing. Yeah,
but we'll talk about this another day. But I don't think either of those films work particularly well in the versions that were released individually.
That's true. I agree with you there. Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. Kill Bill Volume 2. My number 4. Your number 4, Nicholas.
Number 4. Jesus, hang on. Wait.
You have to turn the page.
My number 4?
Yeah.
Well, no, we did my number 4, and we're putting a pin in it because of you. That would be Mr. Ron Burgundy.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's time for another game.
No, another game.
Nicholas, it's your game.
My game.
We've got to go quick. We're running out of time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. We'll make this quick. Tyson made me make up a game, and we're going to play the game. I don't think have you played this game?
We haven't played the tagline game.
Okay, so this is the tagline game. I'm going to say a tagline, and depending on how good Tyson is, which if you're a listener of Nic, Tys and Videotape, you'll know that Tyson pretty much knows his shit.
Yeah, but taglines are funny because I get kind of...
Don't look at my thing.
I confuse my... Sorry.
I saw that shit. Yeah.
I confuse myself and I'm kind of like...
Oh, really?
I try to think too logically and I go, maybe that was...
6, 7. All right, I've got 7 here.
7? All right, let's smash them out. Let's go.
Nice and quick. Here we go.
Speed round.
2004, speed round. The tagline is, change one thing, change everything.
Butterfly effect.
Oh, 1 point to Tyson. Question 2.
Yeah.
Whoever wins, we lose.
That is Alien vs. Predator.
That's so good. And just a little tidbit, that was we're fucked. But they changed it. I hate that they changed that.
That's a shame.
All right. That was the easy round. Now a little bit of a hard one.
Step them up.
Promise to protect, a vow to avenge.
Ooh. The Punisher?
No. Would you care for a hint?
Yeah, I'll take a hint.
You'll take a hint?
Yep.
Oh, Jesus. I don't know the hint. Fuck. Denzel Washington.
Oh, Man on Fire.
There you go.
Fuck. Damn it.
All right. Still in the hard round.
Yep.
Life is waiting.
Is that it?
That's it.
Life is waiting.
Life is waiting. Emphasis on
Life.
on the waiting.
Oh, on the... It's waiting.
Life is waiting. Hint?
Yeah, I'm going to need a hint.
Your hint is one word. Airport.
The terminal.
Oh, well done, Tyson. Okay.
Oh, life is waiting. Yeah, of course. Thanks, fucking Spielberg. Jesus.
All right. Now for a bit of a fun one.
Yep.
Here we go. Putting the F back into freedom.
Team America World Police.
Yes.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Honorable mention right there. Fucking love Team America.
I need to watch it again. Now a bit of a weird one. I don't know if you get this. Is a bit hard. It's probably the hardest one. Here we go. Join the Resistance. This movie I really wanted to do well. It has a very long title. There's your hint.
Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow.
Well done. Oh, well done, Tys.
Good call.
Yeah.
What's with that movie?
What's with that? Do you remember that?
It's unwatchable.
I've never watched it again.
Oh
it was so fucking shit. I think I turned it off.
Oh, it's just such hard work.
And last one.
Here we go.
Last one, Tys. Here
I've
we
done
go.
all right.
You've done pretty well. 6 out of 6 so
Yeah,
far.
don't give me the terminal though. You had to give me the.
Here we
the
go.
clue.
Do I know you?
Is that it?
That's it.
Do I know you?
I'm giving you no hints for this one. This is the hardest one.
Do I know you? Do I know you?
Think about saying it to someone. Actually, that was a hint. Nick, what are you talking about?
Oh, I have a feeling this might be in my list.
This is in my list as well.
Yeah, and we're about to get to this.
Oh, really?
So why don't we save that?
We'll come back.
Because I'm fairly certain this is a
Well done!
Michel Gondry
Yes,
film.
this is a Michel
All right, perfect.
Gondry film.
We will get to that very
well
shortly.
Well done, Tyson. 7 for 7.
All right.
All
Good
right.
That's a great fucking tagline for it.
How good is that?
Oh, my God.
How good is that?
We'll be getting that very shortly. Before we do that, though, Nicholas,
Yeah.
we're getting back to our top 10. What's your number 3?
Oh, top 10. Jesus. So many pages. So little time. Number 3. My number 3, Tyson, is Shaun of the Dead.
Yes, that was my number 5.
No, number 5.
We decided to come back to that.
That's true.
So that is my number 5. Your number 3. So
My
we
number
both
3.
we both are big fans of this film.
Oh, huge.
Our
first Edgar Wright film? This his first film?
No, he had something prior to this, but this is definitely
Really?
Yeah, I believe so.
It's space, but apart from that.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like there might be some kind of lower budget,
Lower budget?
kind of
Oh, nice.
thing. But it's definitely my first experience with Edgar Wright. It's my first experience with like Simon Pegg, really,
Yeah.
and most of those guys. It's funny because I think I saw that before I saw like The Office, or
okay.
it's definitely before I saw Black Books.
Right.
So,
really?
So when first time I watched this was like, this movie's amazing, and then I went and experienced all these other things, came back and went,
Right.
oh my God, everyone I love is in this film.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And you see why they did it.
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
it's such great writing. So the combination writing of Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright, and I feel, even though we're going to talk about another comedy because this is the year for comedies, I feel that English do comedy just a little bit better.
I'm a bit kind of. I'm not the biggest English comedy fan.
Oh, really?
Like,
I'm huge.
I get what it is, and I get that it's probably a lot more clever, but I don't find that English comedy writing, and this is a huge generalization,
Sure.
is as character based as
really?
as other. I think English comedy writing is far funnier situational comedy.
Yeah.
American comedy writing is a little bit more character based.
Okay.
Anyway, that is a huge generalization.
Sure.
But that is, I don't know. I sit down and watch a British funny thing, and sometimes I'm just like, I feel like I'm being fed your stand-up bit.
Oh, really?
As opposed to a
story-driven
comedy.
Oh, okay. See,
but
for me,
I don't feel that at all for this. Don't get me
Okay.
wrong.
Alright.
That is not the case for this. I say this is just my reaction to you saying that you enjoy British comedy more. This is why I sometimes struggle with British comedy.
Okay.
Because I
Fair
don't
deal.
feel a character's voice. I feel the writer's voice
yeah.
a lot more. But
Okay, nice.
anyway, that's neither here nor there at the moment.
I saw. Do you know when I saw this? So a friend of mine, Adam, he said, "Did you want to see the remake of Dawn of the Dead?" I said yes, and it was a day where we had nothing on. So the next movie, we came out of Dawn of the Dead and went into Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, double feature.
How fucking rad is that shit?
That's a great day.
That was insane.
That's
that
a great day of the movies.
So good. No one in the cinema too.
I love it.
No one.
No one in the cinema.
No one
What
in
a
the
shame.
cinema.
I didn't see this at the
For
cinemas.
either.
I was pretty late to the party on Shaun of the Dead. Yeah, absolutely.
I loved it. I had seen Black Books at this point, and I didn't know about Space. Space came later for me.
Yeah, I haven't seen all of Spaced, but it definitely came after. Yeah,
but yeah, it was amazing, and I loved. It essentially is a spoof movie. A spoof movie. I hate that term.
I guess you could call it that,
but it has something more, something genuine to the story. Even if you don't know the source material, even if you don't know if you've never seen any George A. Romero at all, you're still going to find this hilariously funny. You're just going to find 100%. It more funny if you've seen Dawn of the Dead or Day of the Dead.
But it's, it works as a zombie film. Like, and I think that's where a lot of, I'm uncomfortable using the spoof term. It's not because it's not quite. Yeah. I feel like it's more like a lovable homage.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you can tell that these guys actually really fucking love the genre.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas if you watch like an actual spoof film, it's not always certain that they do.
So true.
But yeah, like it works on either level. It works as like a zombie action kind of adventure film.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it like there are jump scares and horror moments in it, but they're watered down in order to keep its audience kind of on board with the lightness. Yeah. But it still works. Like the way the zombies are represented and the action beats and things like that are very effective. Yeah. And then you also have this really, really funny character driven comedy. Yeah. But then you also have some like slapstick moments. You have some really kind of broad comedic moments. It works on so many levels.
So good and absolutely rewatchable. Like I've never been bored of this movie.
No, and this is like it's one of those movies you can put on with a bunch of people, and you all have a good time together. Because it's like, hey, we're a little bit sourced. You want to watch a movie? Oh, let's fucking watch Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead.
Fuck yeah. And everyone has a good time.
Yeah,
100%.
Shaun of the Dead.
I like it.
So
that was your number.
That was my number 3.
Number 3. That was my number 5. All right.
What is your number 3?
My number 3, and I'm not going to talk about it too long because we're going to do an episode on it at some point because I need to defend my view of this film with more kind of time to share it.
Sure.
This is a film that we've talked about previously. People that have listened to the show will probably suspect that this movie is coming up.
Oh, we're talking about...
This is my most watched film of all time.
Oh, Jesus.
It is a film that I return to at least once every 6 months. It is Wolfgang Petersen's Troy.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2004 brought us Troy.
Number 3 for you.
Okay, because I can
that
acknowledge
is high
that
on the fucking list.
It is a movie made for me.
Yeah,
it is a movie that I find massive enjoyment in. Awesome. I can acknowledge the fact that it is not because it is a excellent film. It is because it just at whatever moments it works for me.
Right.
I have actors that I love giving really good, strong performances.
Yeah.
I have a story that I love. I love this mythology, and I think it's told incredibly effectively.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And it's not like those fucking we don't get these stories told very effectively very often. You know what I mean? Like I think of we had those like Jason and the Argonauts TV series with Amanda Sante from the 90s.
Yeah.
And it's like I actually got to see these stories that I love told in an effective, very serious manner. Like they took the material seriously and said, no, we're not going to fuck around. We're not going to make it campy. We're not going to do this. Yeah. They told it really well, populated with really strong actors. It's nice and meaty. There's really good character motivations. They take the time to have characters sit down and talk to each other and give you that kind of you get... I know it sounds really dumb saying this, but you get to have Peter O'Toole and Brad Pitt who...
In a scene.
Act off each other. Peter O'Toole, who is maybe the greatest actor of all time.
Yeah.
And someone like Brad Pitt, who I know a lot of people kind of give shit to, but one of our generation's really strongest actors. He's and this has been said before, he's a character actor stuck in a leading man's body.
Yeah. He really is. Just look at 12 Monkeys. Jesus.
Yeah. So you get to see these two kind of people act off each other. I'm not going to say, these two titans. It's not like Heat when they sit down in the fucking coffee shop. But it's, you get to see some really cool stuff. Eric Bana, who I really love, I think it's one of his best performances because he's not the most... I really love him because he has a physical presence and a real kind of warmth to him. But in the wrong hands, I think he's really ineffective.
It could be used wrong. Yeah, I agree with you.
But this is, I feel like, a really effective use of Eric Bana. The score is one of my all-time favorites, and I mean both scores. Because there was a score originally written by Gabriel Yared, which is beautiful, which was then replaced by James Newton Howard, I believe. We'll double check that. Who does an equally fantastic job. I really like. No, it's Horner. It's Horner.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's fucking Horner. And it's an incredibly good score. The battle scenes are incredible. The villain performance by Brian Cox as Agamemnon is incredibly good. You have villains like Brendan Gleeson's character, who it's more than just... He's not just a villainous kind of bastard. He actually has some depth to him. You can kind of take the Orlando Bloom Paris stuff. It's not the strongest stuff in the film.
I remember that. It was Horner.
It was Horner? Great, thank you. But it doesn't hurt doesn't hurt the overall effect of the film. And it's a film that
it's such a beautiful looking movie as well. I remember
it is gorgeous to look at.
Yeah.
This is one of those rare occasions of films where I think I love it more because I didn't like it the first time I saw it.
Oh, really? Oh,
and so
I like that.
Given it a second chance and then realized, no, do you know what? I really like this movie. Yeah. And then taking it from there and it being a movie that I know that I might be one of the only people that really love it.
Yeah.
Means more to me. Do you know what I mean? And so I hold it very close to my heart.
What you've just said is how I feel, and I'm pretty sure you're the same with, we'll talk about this another time, but Superman Returns. So a lot of people didn't like Superman, they didn't like that, but it spoke to me on a certain level with that character and what it was. Yeah. And a lot of people don't like it, but for me, it's one of the top ones.
Yeah,
using that character,
it's almost because of that reaction. That I like it more because I have to defend it. It's like I almost have to go, okay, well, I have to man up and be the defensive voice for this film.
Yeah.
That's so true. So I fucking love it. I'm going to watch it soon, I think, because even just talking about it now makes me want to watch it again.
Well, now I need to see it again because I literally haven't seen it since 2004.
Sure.
Yeah, I've only watched it once. I remember liking it, but I remember always thinking, oh, I should really watch that again. It's always been there.
Sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I haven't really had the,
I recommend the extended director's cut.
Really?
Absolutely. It builds. There's a lot more character stuff in it that they just cut out, unfortunately, for the cinematic, release. It's always the case when you get these long epics and they're like, oh, look, hey, can we keep it under 3 hours because, we want to run as many fucking showings as we can during a day. They cut it under 3 hours and they unfortunately cut a lot of the good stuff that makes you want to,
fucking hate that,
want to kind of bond with these characters.
Yeah, yeah.
The director's cut is a little over 3 hours. I'd say it's probably 3:20-ish or something like that.
Wow, nice.
Or it might be actually just under 3 hours.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But
you like an epic, don't you, Tys?
Well, no, this is the thing because I bitch and moan about how movies are too damn long, but I love an epic. Yeah. Like, I really do. So
that's why I said
it's kind of one or the other.
It either has to be fuck ton long.
Yeah, I want it 90 minutes or I want it 4 hours.
Snap it out in 20.
That's it. Yeah, that's my number 3, Troy. We're going to move on. We're running out of time.
That's all right. So we're up to my number 2, I believe it or not.
Yes.
And this is one that you tabled, so let's talk Brad Bird and The Incredibles.
The Incredibles, wonderful.
This is my number 2.
Good choice.
Oh.
Your number 2 film.
So Pixar...
That was my number 6 film.
Number 6, yeah. So Pixar plus superheroes equals absolute perfection for me.
It's amazing. It's probably their best film.
This is so...
Oh, no, because it's not my favourite Pixar, but I think it's maybe their best film.
I can't have that conversation. I don't want to have that conversation.
I don't want to have that conversation.
I can't
yeah,
compare.
You're right.
It's too hard.
It is too hard.
But just going on... how can I... Where do I start with this? So with the soundtrack, the 60s Bond... getting
so
into
good. So good.
Amazing.
Is it Giacchino?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck, he's good.
And a genuine villain. Let's compare... Syndrome
yeah.
to Batman versus Superman. Let's compare those two, and you've got nothing to compare it to. You see Syndrome evolve into the villain that he is going to
Syndrome
become.
is an incredibly sympathetic and understandable villain.
Absolutely, and you're not rooting for him.
Yeah.
but yeah,
it's a good vocal performance. That's Jason Lee, isn't it?
It's Jason Lee.
Good vocal performance.
Yeah, really good. Some of the best action sequences, not just in animation, but in fucking film.
Yeah, they're really, really solid.
Yeah,
but also maintaining a sense of fun because it's the same thing we were talking about. What was the movie we were talking about before with the Harry Potter thing? How it was like, how do you make a film that's also watchable by kids, but then still have like wicked action scenes? And that's where it is.
That's where it is. Yeah. So when Elastigirl is flying in the air and dodging those fucking missiles, my heart is in my throat every time I watch that. Vi, you have to put a force field around the plane, and I'm like, oh my god, It's
such high energy. It's
so intense.
Yeah, so intense.
So
intense. It's great. And great performances by the Incredibles themselves.
Yeah. Such good
and my favorite,
performances.
probably my all-time favorite Pixar character is Edna Mode.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
I love the bit where she does the voice activation and all the guns pop out and she turns around and guest.
But yeah, it's more than just an adventure film or goes anything beyond putting a comic book movie onto the screen. This literally is, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, just incredible.
They should put that on the DVD cover.
There you go. So that's my Incredibles.
Yeah, no, good. And we're getting the sequel soon. I hope it just kind of...
I'll be there.
Pixar sequels have not been like... They've been fine.
Recent? No. I have
Toy Story is I don't consider Toy Story
No,
part
we've talked
of
about
that.
this. They're on their
it's its
own
own
plane.
trilogy.
They're
It's
on their
its
own
own
plane.
thing. It's perfect.
Monsters University, I still
was fine.
I bank up there.
Fine.
Not as good, but it was
It's a
was
good
great.
time. It's a good time.
But
Finding Dory was not much good.
couldn't get through
Cars
the
2 was
first 5.
rubbish.
Cars I've never touched. What else do we have?
What else have we had? Is that it?
That's it. I think that's it. Well, we haven't touched Cars. Well, I haven't touched Cars.
I've seen 1 and 2.
But yeah.
Or most of 2.
But the thing is, the thing with this is that you have places to go with this storyline.
Well, apparently it's picking up straight away. Like the first thing we see in the new film is
the Molman.
The Molman.
Oh, fuck me.
Yeah, so
really?
this is what I've heard. So we're straight into it.
I can't wait.
And then that acts as like a prologue, and then it cuts to however many years later.
Oh, I can't wait.
So yeah, I just can't. You're right. I can't wait.
There's nothing.
The problem is that I don't understand. It's not. Hang on. That sounds like I'm being bitter about.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing how they differentiate the first movie from the second movie, because the first movie was the perfect example of heroes are the best thing ever. We now have to go into hiding.
We have to go into hiding. We have to cut
and
it
then
out.
we gradually allow ourselves to
Yeah.
be heroes again. So what do you do in a second film?
Exactly.
Because you can't do it again.
No.
So
And we've talked about this. I remember we talked about this when we brought up Pixar in another episode, where you realize what the movie is in the first 5 minutes, and you go, "Oh my god, superheroes! Oh my god, I can't wait!"
Yes.
And then they go, "No, you're not going to get that story," and you couldn't think of it any other way.
Sure.
You can't think of that story any other way,
100%.
which is why I can't wait to see what they bring, because they've sat on this for a while. 2004 was a while ago. Since
was a while
Incredibles.
ago.
So
13 years ago.
They've had to, they've.
It'll be 14 years by the time it comes out.
Yeah, thinking what they've just been cooking on,
Yeah.
and knowing that Pixar can really hit a story on the head with it being amazing.
They can knock this out of the park.
Can't wait.
All right, let's move on.
We're up to my number 1. So you're
I've got my number 2.
Your number 2, Tyson?
My number 2 is one we tabled from prior to this moment. My number 2 is almost my favorite comedy of all time. I don't think I can find a comedy that I enjoy more.
Lanolin? Your name is Lanolin? You should maybe not wear a bra next time.
That is Anchorman.
Anchorman.
I don't think there is I think it's my favorite comedy of all time.
This is the epitome of lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
You can't get a comedy
Hey
this
man,
good.
I know.
This ranks at number 4 for me.
No one liked the sequel except me. Because I'm just like, I just want to hang out with these dudes for more. I'll watch fucking 10 movies hanging out with these guys. I wish it was like Police Academy style amount of sequels.
Yes.
Because I just want to hang out with these guys.
Yes.
I fucking love them.
Imagine
love
that,
them.
Police Academy. Oh, yeah.
They are just, because I don't just think they're funny, I love them
I love their characters
people.
as characters, yeah.
And
so good.
I love hanging out with them.
News.
It's just... Oh, hello.
Sorry
that
about
was a good sound.
Sorry.
But we just got... It was such an unexpected...
It
gem.
was so good.
Because at that stage, yes, I was aware of Will Ferrell. I'd seen bits and pieces. I knew who Paul Rudd was because of Clueless and a few other random things here and there.
For me, but yeah,
so it was such an explosion of oh my God, this is the funniest. I think the person I knew mostly in that film was probably Christina Applegate.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, I think I knew her the most.
I didn't know Steve Carell at this point.
No, that was my introduction to Steve Carell.
Yeah. Even though I'd seen him before in Liar Liar, but I didn't know him from that. He was the newsreader.
No, that's Bruce Almighty. He's the newsreader.
Oh, Bruce Almighty. So what did I say? Liar Liar.
Liar Liar.
Oh, it was a Jim Carrey movie. Him doing his shtick.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I love Jim
shtick.
Carrey. But yeah.
No, you're right. So these people were kind of unknown entities to me at that point.
Absolutely.
I think seeing someone like Jack Black was Jack Black.
Jack Black.
Jack Black's in this movie. Cool.
Yeah. And now you look at it and you're like, oh, Jack Black.
And then it's that's the bit with Jack Black. Yeah, okay, fair enough. It is the most quotable movie of all time.
I knew that I loved this movie. If a movie 5 minutes in, not even 1 minute past the first 5 minutes, and it's you've sold me. The only other movie that I remember this happening because of that introduction, that I love Scotch, all of that stuff, all of the maybe not wear a bra next, all of that,
the improv stuff,
all the improv is just
roll the camera,
just roll the camera and let me do my thing, which is what they've been thinking of doing. The only other time that I laughed this hard was What We Do in the Shadows. The start before the title sequence.
No, you're right. That first 10 minutes of What We Do in the Shadows is up there for really just perfection.
Yeah. But lightning in a
No,
bottle.
you're right. I watched
so
this film
many.
and I'm just kind of like, holy shit.
You can't go wrong.
You can't. It was life changing.
It was.
I was laughing out loud. I was having the best time of my life. I knew I was watching something that was going to be an all timer. Like
Absolutely.
10 minutes in, you're like, well, this is it.
This is
going to be
gold.
an all timer.
Yeah.
And then the next day, you are quoting that with your friends, and I swear to God, it has never stopped. It has never, since that day, it is still, milk is still a bad choice. Like,
exactly.
Stuff like that.
Going into the fridge or talking to your dog, my wife actually the other day, my little son went, nah, and she went, in English, please. I don't understand Spanish.
I don't understand Spanish.
And things like that.
I have many leather-bound books.
Yeah.
These are things.
I went to a party the day after I saw this movie.
Yeah.
I think it was a week, that weekend. I went to a party and went up to my friend and we both went, oh my God, Anchorman at the same time.
Right.
And then I went up to girls as a dickhead who in 2004, just a loser, went up to girls and went, I want to be on you.
Exactly. I want to be on you.
I want to be on you.
Yaz flute.
Yeah.
It's endless. The quotable kind of ingrained into our subconscious moments of this film.
So good.
And I think, we can't even do justice to it because it is.
And because
the
of
only thing I can equate it to is that it is our generation's airplane.
Yeah,
or flying high.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I think it is. It will exist forever on that level. That when we, for instance, you have a kid, but when when our generation is showing our kids our funniest film, this is where we go 9
to.
times out of 10, I think it's going to be Anchorman
That's so
that
true.
people are going to show it to. The same way our parents showed us Flying High.
And because there's nothing too adult either, is it?
No.
It's it's a teen. You can show it to teenagers.
You can show it. Yeah,
funny.
I could show it to. I'd be happy showing it to like a 12-year-old
Yeah.
kid. They probably wouldn't get all of it.
Yeah, but that's fine. Good comedies grow.
Yeah.
And you come back to it and go, oh my God, that's fucking hysterical.
It's not like pop culture references
No,
that are
exactly, that
just
get
like
dated.
dated immediately. It's legitimately. It's almost like the closest thing to like a Monty Python kind of movie that I think America has produced on the level of its absurdity.
Yeah.
On the level of just the most out of nowhere
box,
kind of
random.
this just happens. And
So
you're like,
good.
that is so funny, and I would never have thought of that in a million years. And that's actually why I like the second one, because I feel like
Sex
they actually
Panther.
turned that up to a
Really?
little bit, to an extra level.
I need to watch it. The only gripe that I have with the second is that they tried to rehash the same jokes a little.
It's a little bit. Look, the
And
story's
the whole
not as.
section with the shark, I fucking hate it.
I love that shit. It's so funny. But like, it's not as strong. Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, it's nowhere near as strong a movie, but I think they lifted that level of it up another notch because it is far more ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just not as, the story isn't as well established, the characters aren't as clean.
Yep. But it's still good.
But it's still
I still went to the
super
cinema
watchable.
and fucking laughed my
I
ass
laughed
off.
my ass off. I've watched it like 2 or 3 times. Like, and I'll happily rewatch it. Like,
Just with the news battle.
I watched Anchorman like at least 30 times. Because it's...
I could quote it to you right now. seriously.
like, you could start from the top and
Yeah,
I'd
we could
have
all
a good
do it.
crack at it.
A lot of people could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good film. So that was my number 2. That was your number...
That was my number 4.
Number 4. So
Yeah.
what's your number 1 and my number 1?
Really?
We
Really?
have the same film.
Eternal Sunshine
Yeah.
of the Spotless Mind.
We've done it. We've done it again.
We've done it again.
Nicholas, how has this happened? Our top films.
It says a lot about us.
So when we did 1999, Nick was not here.
I was not here, no.
But I asked him to supply his top 10 for me because he was looking after Bubba.
And
so
I
he
hadn't
had
listened.
not listened.
No.
This is the amazing thing. And we shared the same number 1 in The
Yeah.
Green Mile, which I thought was quite fantastic.
And quite telling.
Quite telling.
Yeah. We're softies.
Exactly.
We're softies.
We have done it again. We are sharing our top pick of the year, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Michael Gondry. Did you say Michelle Gondry?
I thought it was Michelle Gondry.
I think it's Michelle Gondry,
But,
yeah. And Charlie Kaufman. Oh,
Charlie Kaufman,
Jesus
who
Christ.
it's funny because I've since this I've seen less enjoyable Gondry films, but I've never not enjoyed a Kaufman film.
Oh, really?
And so I have to kind of think that it's
It's Kaufman
that I
really?
like.
No, because
Don't get me wrong, Gondry is doing incredible work in this.
some of the stuff
Like,
that he's pulling out
yeah,
is
incredible.
never been done.
But,
Like,
I've seen, like I said, Kaufman, Spike Jonze doing Kaufman, great. Kaufman doing Kaufman, great.
Insane.
Michelle Gondry doing Other Riders, not as good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't think Be Kind Rewind is super great. I think it's really loose.
Okay.
The Science of Sleep, I really
seen that.
struggled with.
Okay.
I got half an hour into it and went, this is not for me.
Okay. So maybe it is just lightning in a bottle again. Maybe
I think
the
we're
two coming
underestimating
together. See, I didn't mind
the
Be
strength of
Kind
Kaufman,
Rewind.
though.
Okay.
It's not a bad film, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But who wrote Be Kind Rewind? Because it is somebody of note, I think.
It's Michelle Gondry.
Oh, he wrote it himself.
He wrote it
Okay,
himself,
cool.
yeah.
But yeah, like, I don't want to, like, it's our top film of the year. I'm not going to hang shit on it.
No.
Gondry does incredible work, but I think the champion of this film is Kaufman.
Is Kaufman.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think he understands.
He gets into the crux. Sorry to jump on you.
No, go for it.
But I broke this down in when I was thinking about it, because I thought about it for a while, and just breaking down a movie into its elements. And the strongest one is, and if you don't have this element, for me, you don't really have a movie, is the story. So if your script is lacking in any sense of the word, this is not lacking. What he has shown us, he's gotten to the crux of a love story hidden within a breakup movie for me, or vice versa. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, I think he's written probably the most affecting love story of that decade.
Right.
Because he's found a way to, without it feeling manipulative, he's found a way to make you share the love that they have, but also share the sadness that it's over simultaneously.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really hard thing to achieve without it being one of those things where it's like, we're going to show naff flashbacks and we're going to, or I've seen this movie before, so I know how it ends. And so that part becomes
more
more
over
poignant.
A montage. There's no montage.
Yeah. It's actually, it happens simultaneously.
Yeah,
so while we are
true.
aware that this relationship is over, we actually get to experience the wonderful parts of this relationship simultaneously to that. And that's it's a huge task.
Yeah.
But he pulls it off in a way that never seems manipulative.
It's not forced.
Never seems forced. Never seems like he's sacrificing character elements for the sake of his quirky, nifty story.
Yeah. Which it is. The story itself,
oh my God,
having the invention
so
of erasing someone from your life. Just putting that out there, who would you, and I'll tell you what I would do with that machine. But as the things that is someone who has affected you to the point where you've broken up with them, and that has manifested itself within you into poison. So thinking about that person you fucking hate.
Yeah.
And you can not have that.
Yeah, for sure.
Getting rid of that feeling is massive.
Yeah.
And everyone who has ever had who has suffered a painful the painful addiction and the wonderment that is love.
Yeah.
Knows what this movie is.
Oh, yeah, and look, that's the thing. It's so relatable at the same time because we all look at it and go, God, I'd totally use that machine if I could.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the film, you go, oh, no, I wouldn't.
Exactly.
No, I wouldn't because, and like...
You need that.
He amazingly understands exactly what journey his audience is going to go on while watching this film.
Yeah.
So there's no guesswork at all. He is in full control of that.
Yeah.
And not even that, like, just to tell it in a way that is so visual, like... It's not there's not big scenes of exposition and big kind of like, oh well, this is disappearing now, and so now this is happening and then this is happening.
Yeah.
We're constantly kind of having these having our senses kind of
fucked with.
Yeah. Because we think we're in one thing, but then it doesn't feel quite right.
You don't know what's going on, and then all of a sudden, what the fuck?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's
my favorite is the scene. Sorry, just to capture what you've just said, is the scene where he's going through his dreams, and it's literally the cameraman has a torch going through a hallway.
Yes.
And he sees faces, but they're blank.
Yes.
And you can see, you're piecing together what the fuck is happening to Joel, and you don't know. And then it cuts to another scene, and he's arguing with Clementine, and a car comes out of the background and falls to the ground, and you're like, oh my God, what the fuck am I watching? Like, what is going on?
And look, it's such a... He's so accurately, and this is Gondry, of course, as well. They're so accurately able to show you, to give you a representation of how our memories might work. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not even, it's not the same for everybody, of course.
Yeah.
But this is a really effective visual way to represent the destruction of memories.
Yeah.
And it's so clever. Like, just even little things like in the library scene where just the lights are turning off and stuff like that.
Fucking
like,
there's no movie magic there. They're just turning the lights off.
but it represents exactly exactly what he's trying to get across. That whole kind of no, we're pushing you out of an area because that area is no longer existing. So this is how we're going to represent it.
Yeah.
I just think this movie is such an expression of how we can complement perfect screenwriting with really effective visual storytelling to tell a story that, yes, in a book or in a play, we would probably get the same outcome, but through very different avenues.
That's true.
Yeah, that we could explore this feeling in a book, probably a lot more straightforward. Yeah.
The visual element to this movie is a big element to it, and it really has.
But
more
this
of
is
an
the
impact.
example of why some people are like, you know what? No, I prefer books, or I prefer live theatre or something like that. It's because sometimes there are things that you can't say in cinema, like you can't tell
someone's thoughts or anything like
without
that.
without naff things like exactly.
Yeah.
This is the perfect movie that is able to capture that demonstration of emotional kind of exploration.
Yeah.
Entirely using movie techniques. And that's and it just needs to be fucking applauded for that. You're just fuck, it's
so heartbreaking.
So creative and so heartbreaking as well. You are crying your eyes out at the end of this film.
I the first time I watched this, I just gone through a breakup, so that was fun.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So acquaintances of mine we were talking about this movie over beers one time.
Yeah, sure.
And acquaintances of mine who were together, one of them was so adamant that, well, why they'll just get back together, and his partner was like, no, you don't understand. They've done that. They can't get back together. That it will just end the same way.
Yeah.
They cannot be together. And it was so heartbreaking to see him see what
because they
don't
have the memory of how it went the first time.
No.
So if they get back together,
it's all going to
happen again.
And now that they've got that in their hands of, no, this relationship didn't work because, Joel holding the Clementine relationship in his hands in the manila folder in the end, going, no, I know that you've just fallen in love with her on the train, on that beautiful trip, but it's not gonna happen, and it was such a beautiful thing to see that guy just not put it together.
No, because I think we all find different things out of the film in the end as well. We find different ways to be at peace with it because
exactly.
Because you do want them to figure it out, but I think accepting that it maybe can't ever work is kind of part of the film.
The growing part of it, yeah. And you won't. But that's the thing. Watching this, if I was 21 watching this, blindly, I'm like, no, they get together in the end.
Yeah, sure.
They could see the error of their ways in the manila folder and go, well, we won't do that.
Yeah.
Now, as a 30-something guy, I know for a fact, going through relationships, going,
sure.
no, it won't. You will still find those things no matter how hard you find them.
And just really quickly, really strong supporting performances as well from the guys at the company. Mark Ruffalo, Kirsten Dunst.
Her subplot also is
the subplot with her and Tom
Wilkinson.
Really great.
Yeah.
And I don't want to forget Elijah Wood as well.
Elijah Wood,
really great.
Yeah.
The forgotten element of this film is kind of those guys. They have a really great scene where they get fucked up and have a good time together, and it's really quite lovely as well.
And Elijah is weird.
He's a little weirdo.
The one thing I did want to bring up before we jump off is what always comes to my head with this movie and the contraption of erasing memories, and I'm pretty sure this is going to change. This is going to change how you feel about movies, Tys. Is what I would use this for?
Yes.
Is erasing movies. I wouldn't erase things. I would erase the movie so I
you
can
can watch
see
them
it
again
fresh.
for the first time.
Imagine that. Imagine seeing The Dark Knight for the first fucking time.
It's going to be really funny. Is I'd write myself a little note about what I thought of that movie the first time, and then I'd go do it. I would not erase the memory of where it was hidden.
Yeah.
I would just erase the memory of what I wrote in it and the movie itself. Go watch the movie and then go read the piece of paper and see if I still agreed or not.
How good would that be?
Yeah, that'd be really
Imagine
funny.
rewatching Inception or The Crow or Seven for the first time. Oh my God, that blows my mind. So
yeah, but at the same time,
same time you like your rewatchability. You
I don't
rewatch it,
I don't know. I like the memories of
rewatching them.
Well, I like the fact that I can kind of play them over in my head.
Really?
But you're right though. Something like
I wouldn't erase a person. I would erase.
Isn't this the kind of the point of the film though? Like,
erase an art form.
Is it better to experience for the first time, or is it better to have the memories of it?
I don't know. I'm just saying, wouldn't it be fun?
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Don't get me wrong.
but it's better in the long run. Oh, maybe it is. Oh,
this is the conversation the movie asks you to have.
No,
which is why it's a good fucking movie, and it's why it's our
number one. That is hilarious that we've come to that.
Yeah, I don't think there was any question with that. When I saw that title come up, I was like, well, that's at least top 3.
Yeah.
And it made its way very comfortably.
Absolutely.
So I think that's going to wrap us up, man.
That was it.
That's
Top
it.
10, 2004.
Yeah. 2004. There's some other good movies in there, but we're running really short on time, so we're not going to mention them. We're not going to mention any of them. But do your own list and send it in for us, people. That'd be amazing. What was your top film of 2004? Did we mention it, or was it perhaps something we didn't mention? Was it...
Go on. Lemony Snicket's.
Was it Lemony Snicket's? Was it $1 Million Baby? One that I thought might have appeared on one of our lists at some point.
No, fuck no. Why that one best...
Oh, okay.
Oh, I have gripes. We'll get to that another time.
It was on my list and then I took it off.
Yeah, I'll get to that
because I really do love that film.
Hidden Gems, Mean Creek.
I've never seen Mean Creek, but
Saved.
I've heard it's great. Saved is a really fun movie. Team America, of course. And look, considering we're big comic book guys...
Spidey 2.
Spider-Man 2 did not feature on any of our lists.
And I'm thankful. And I'm
okay with that.
Well, I liked it at the time, but unfortunately, the test of time. Yeah.
Well, and that might cause a bit of discrepancy with...
Discrepancy. That's not a word.
That might cause a bit of disruption with some of our comic book fans, I think, because it's well regarded as one of the best.
What?
So, yes.
Okay, I have gripes. Bring it on, people.
Yeah, me too. Anyway, but that's going to wrap us up.
But that's it.
We've had a pleasure talking about our top 10 films of 2004. We Rank Stuff Volume 3.
Yep.
Is there something you would like us to rank? Why don't you email us?
Please do.
Tys and Videotape at gmail.com.
That's true.
Tell us what you'd like us to rank, and we'll be more than happy to do so. We'll rank anything. I think that should be our
It could
tagline.
be villains.
We can rank movie villains.
Endings of movies. It could be
twist endings.
It could be motherfucking soundtracks.
It could be soundtracks, our favourite film soundtracks. Why don't you just send us an email and tell us what you'd like us to rank? Otherwise, Nicholas, where can people find us?
Oh, they can find us iTunes, Stitcher, anywhere good podcasts are sold.
That's it.
You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Yep. And don't forget the newly renovated
YouTube page.
Go and visit it because it looks really good and I worked ages from it.
Yeah, go on.
So
Please do.
Just view some stuff on it so that I don't look at the certain videos that have 0 views and I'm like,
just chuck in some random comments.
Yeah, comment on the videos. That would be amazing.
Go on, it'd be hilarious if you do.
Because YouTube videos are notoriously bad for their comments.
Get it started.
Something
don't
racist.
Don't be a troll. Don't be an asshole.
Oh, no, don't be a troll? Okay, sure.
Yeah.
I feel like that's all that
really?
exists. It's just
Just
YouTube
be a troll
trolls.
then, fuck it. We are opening the floodgates. Be a troll.
Nicholas, before we go, it's been a long episode.
Yeah.
I'm going to speed this motherfucker up.
Let's make this
so
quick.
It's not quite as long as it could be. We're not going to cross our streams today.
Oh, we're not going to?
No.
Nice, I like it.
We're saving. We'll save our crossing of streams for next week.
Oh, cool.
We might do a bit of a double because we've run way late.
Quite good. All right then. Next week, Tyson.
Next week we're going to be looking at.
What do we do? Oh God!
So it's a franchise that we love.
It's one of the best franchises,
but only based on the first 2 films.
Absolutely.
But we're not going to talk about either of those.
No, we're not going to talk about 1 and 2. We're going to go to 3.
We're going to talk about Terminator 3,
Rise of the Motherfucking Machines.
That's the one.
Oh my God!
Because we like jumping into franchises we love at the most random place imaginable.
Absolutely. Don't start at the start. How boring?
Why start at the start?
How
boring? Why bother?
Well, go to the worst one, if anything.
No, it's not the worst one. It might be the worst one. I don't know, but we'll find out next week. Maybe I've got a newfound love for it now with a bit of separation.
Oh God!
Yes, the 3rd film in the Terminator franchise, Arnold Schwarzenegger doing his thing.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Is this our 3rd Arnie film? It is. 4th? 3rd Arnie film.
3rd Arnie film. And
of what will no doubt be many more. But
tons. We love Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No doubt we will end up talking about the franchise as on the whole, but we're going to base our conversation about the 3rd film.
No, we're going to bring it back to the 3rd. We're
but until then,
Claire Danes and
Danes.
Is it Nick Stahl? Yeah.
What's he doing in this film?
Cares?
Until then,
next week, people. Tyson, it's been a pleasure.
It has been a pleasure.
Bye, buddy.
See you, man.
Bye.
Bye.